I'm just looking for that same vibe that you on. Cause I'm out here with my boys, going crazy in this bitch. Overseas, getting bent, no Mercedes in this bitch. We made the album 9 months. Had a baby in this bitch. I'm with your babe on the run, like I'm Jay-Z in this bitch. I don't smoke a lot, but I get green. But ball out, no SBs. I caught you out, you got serving that beat stop, no step team. I came through and that's real shit. No, no one came, but I feel this. Feel the kid when I feel bass. I still be spitting that Will Smith. I shut it down, we do that. Hell yeah, we knew that. Little girl gave me the crazy eyes. Orange is that new black, cold out, so I think about it. Trust me out, so I drink about it. We talk it out, but it's all good, so it's too real. Don't think about it. She take me out of my place, but I stay in my zone. Look me right in my face. She can see through my soul. I said, don't think about it. I said, don't think about it. She took me out of my place, but I stay in my zone. Look me right in my face. She can see through my soul. I said, don't think about it. I said, don't think about it. Came up as a church boy with my dukes on weekends. Waking up at like 6, man. You don't get paid if you sleep in, man. You don't know where I come from. You don't know what I've been through. Realize I don't say shit about all the bread that I sent you. You getting mad, I'm sitting back, I'm fucked up, I'm getting trash. Gotta go watch 2 gold chains and I go real like Trinidad. Trick, I'm the man. Act like you know me. Popping off like you sent me. Man, I rap like it's loaded. I made my crew hot, your crew not. We too sick, no flu shot. On this side, it's all big, man. I ain't dissing on Tupac. Just East Coast, all East Coast. These young bloods don't know better. Most of y'all got no chill. They'll get it poppin' in snow weather. Some kids just need love. They'll put in work for like no cheddar. Looking up to them dope boys. They got bands like Coachella. Yeah, just remember, I might have your girl for dinner. I'm the man year round, January to December. She take me out of my place, but I stay in my zone. Look me right in my face. She can see through my soul. I said, don't think about it. I said, don't think about it. She took me out of my place, but I stay in my zone. Look me right in my face. She can see through my soul. I said, don't think about it. I said, don't think about it. She take me out of my place, but I stay in my zone. Look me right in my face. She can see through my soul. I said, don't think about it. I said, don't think about it. She take me out of my place, but I stay in my zone. Look me right in my face. She can see through my soul. I said, don't think about it. I said, don't think about it.
Hello, hello in the chat room. Can everybody hear me, or can anybody hear me in the chat room? I'm trying to set something up to where they have it on Google Hangouts now, where not only can you hear someone through their speaker or through their headphone, you can also view the screen. And I'm trying to set this up like I do on my um, game show arcade encoder. So if you can hear me, please let me know. Okay, great. K Max says loud and clear. Let me first and foremost, let me just say hi to everyone in the chat room. Craig Harris, hey, what's up, brother? K Mac, what up, what up? Lamarcus, aka Night Train, the trucker Griffin, what up? Um, let's see who else we got in here. What's up, UFO Kamikaze One, Mr. Pirate Brain, SW247X, Logic Observer. What up, boy? Zoventure. What's up, guys? So yeah, um, as usual with my streams, y'all all know what this is about. It actually, as I told you guys yesterday in the video. Oh, what's up, Bill? What's up, my boy Bill? What up? What up? What's up, Mr. Perfect, my man? Um, I was, as you guys know, this was actually supposed to be solely about the Trump shutdown that now in its going into its 4th week has everybody shaking in their boots. But one of you brothers sent me this video that I just uploaded about an hour ago. That is going viral. It's lighting up black YouTube right now. It will only be a matter of fucking time for the black femicunts like Paris Milan and Cynthia G get a hold of it, and you already know they're going to be crying crocodile tears and crying foul about why did black men standing around didn't do nothing and all of that crap. So we definitely got to touch on this. In the meantime, guys, also, as I said, we're going to be touching on the original subject at hand, which is the issue of welfare benefits, and are black women, well, not black women, black thoughts, I'll put it like that. Are these black career baby mama welfare thoughts, are they in grave danger of losing those benefits? And if they do, what happens then? Okay. Hence the title of this video, which has been, I mean, the title of the stream, which has been edited. Welfare benefits at risk and white men knocking them the fuck out. Have black women painted themselves into a corner? That is the $1 million question of tonight's stream. And right now, that is the question of the month for black women. As you know, since really late December, they've been taking a lot of L's lately. And, you know, we just started in 2019 and things don't look like they're getting better for them. So we're going to touch on all of that. A couple of things. One, I have a very special guest coming on tonight, Babatunde Umana. Many of you have heard him on the Obsidian Radio Live Network. You're also very familiar with his Black Manosphere type anti-feminist website, slangevil.com. He hails from the U of K, Great Britain. We're going to have him in here weighing in on all of this. I just sent him the link. I'm going to go find out where he is or if he's having a problem joining the stream. And what we're going to actually do is I'm going to put my email out here for any one of you brothers that want to join the stream that's actually trustworthy. And when I say trustworthy, I mean I mean the name of a brother that I am familiar with that wants to join the discussion panel. We're going to go an hour with Babatunde because that brother, he, like I said, he lays down the law unlike any other brother I've ever seen, even over Tommy Sotomayor, David Carroll, Equazi, myself. You know, I don't know if it's that English accent or what, but he be he be laying down the law on these hoes. And I have to hear, we have to hear what this brother has to say about all this controversy raising up, including this viral video of this little thought getting knocked the hell out. Now, on that note, that video that I put up, everybody's talking about the girl charged at him, but did anybody see how she pushed him before before she charged him when he was surrounded by those little thoughts? And I pick up that something went wrong inside. Something actually went wrong inside of the inside of the mall or the movie theater or whatever, wherever they were, and it spilled to the outside. And you know, anybody that's been around these little hyenas, as Tommy Sotomayor calls them, you know that they act wilder than these little young ass niggas. They really do. And they think can't nobody put their hands on them. You know, they can do whatever they want. They get loud. They'll get in your face. They'll threaten you. They'll insult you. So look, and I know the likes, when the likes of Paris Milan and Cynthia G and Crystal and Kerzin, when they get a hold of this, they're gonna try to paint this and make it look like black men didn't protect this girl, and they're gonna make a big to do about how she's only 12 years old and she was hit and knocked out by a grown ass white man. But what they're not going to touch is how she touched him first. They're not going to touch how, you know, those of us here in the Black Manosphere, we actually stood up for. What's up, Bruce Wayne? What's up, Motown Soul 70? What's up, Break SG1 BJS? What's up, anybody else I didn't say hi to in the live stream? What these females are not going to want to touch, they're not going to want to touch how she touched him first. And they're also not going to want to touch how us in the Black Manosphere, we stood up for that little hood rat thought bot in the McDonald's or wherever that was. Y'all remember just a couple of weeks ago, okay? She was having some type of disagreement with some tall ass white dude, and he grabbed her, pulled her over the counter, and she went to unleashing them hands. She went to throwing them straight hooks and them jabs at that motherfucker. And I actually made a video applauding that. Okay. I said, I don't care what I think about black women. I don't care what I think about white men. I don't care about what I think about space Martians. You keep your motherfucking hands to yourself. Okay. And now we see a situation, an exact reversal situation, where these little black, you know, thoughts that think they can do whatever the hell they want to, you know, disrespecting black men, disrespecting themselves, disrespecting each other. One of them put their hands on this white dude. Okay, he rightfully turned around and put his hands on her fucking back. So we see the exact opposite, but basically the same fucking thing: self-defense. You don't like getting knocked the fuck out? I don't care if you're 12 years old. I say that right now. You keep your motherfucking hands to your motherfucking self. Okay, so that's what we're gonna touch on, guys. I'm gonna play a little bit more music. Y'all stay tuned. Looks like we're gonna get a lot of people here in the live stream. Let me go and see why Baba Tunde is, or if he's having a problem joining the chat. I apologize, guys. I'm gonna play some more non-copyrighted music, and I'll get right back to you. Before I do that, I am going to be turning my screen on because we're all going to watch this video, this video of this North Carolina incident that just went viral. I mean, it's on Reddit, it's on World Star Hip Hop, it's on YouTube, it's on Black Planet, it's everywhere. We're gonna watch this shit over and over and over tonight. Okay. But first, before I leave to and play some music, go to a brief break. I want to let you guys know. First, I want to thank everybody so far. I got 3 new signups on my Brian Blogs Corner Club, and that's on patreon.com /Brian Too Bad TV Solange. If you want to see my exclusive blog articles, you can check that out again at www.patreon.com /Brian Too Bad TV Solange. And there you will get to see exclusive blogs, written only blogs, some of which I'll do videos about, but a lot of that content will be article written only. Okay. So you'll get to see content that people here on my public platforms otherwise would never be able to see. And you can join for under $7 a month. I'm going to put that right now in the I'll put that in the chat room. Also, if you want to make a private donation to me and show your support, of course, I appreciate you guys' support either way. Even if you don't make a donation, like I said, all my video and streaming content will be free. I'll put that in the chat room as well. And I'm also going to I'm going to pin this just in case you didn't catch it there. I'm going to pin this where you can get to it in the comment section. Just give me 1 second here, guys. And then we're going to go to brief commercial break. And hopefully I'm going to be coming back online with Baba Tunde Umana, our special guest tonight. And we're going to be touching on the subject, which is at the title of this video, which is welfare benefits at risk and white men KTFO'ing them. Have black women painted themselves into a corner? Okay. I'm going to put this up here now for all you guys, just in case. Okay, guys, stay tuned. We got a lot coming up, and I will be right back.
Your reflection in my wine glass. It's when I look away. Can't stand and think about losing your fine ass. How the fuck I let you slip away? Like for the party, but I'm dead inside. Kill my vibes, it was genocide. Hard to act like I've been alive. I'm trying to find where I identify. 1 time for the girl that got away. 2 times for the bub I'm about to spray. 3 times for the power that I pray to. Are you up there? Can you hear me? I know I fucked up. It's clear, see, I'm 22, but I don't act like it clearly. And all this shit is a mirage. I'm just rapping for a cause, the life, the fame, the life's the game, the break the laws, don't like to change. Wanna win you back, but I hate to lose. I know that you're the one, but it's hard to choose. Yeah, look, too much whiskey in my red cup. Remember first day you wouldn't give it up. We had only scratched the surface, but I knew that you were worth it. Yeah, so I was patient. Brag to my niggas, Joe name it. I'm still with the niggas that I came with. Like everything changed once some fame hit. Make it up, take you down, have a shot, I bought a round, play my song, you like the sound. It's going down, it's going down. Drink coffee, watch passerbys, and proof that you are not the average guy. It's just my flaws that they magnify. And when it's real, you don't have to try. I wish there was another way. Tomorrow is another day. Drugs take the pain away. Sometimes I wanna run away. I wish there was another way. Tomorrow is another day. Drugs take the pain away. Sometimes I wanna run away.
What up, everybody? It is 3:33 p.m. here in the central Midwestern region of the Plain States, and we are just waiting a little bit longer for Mr. Babatunde Umana to join us. The topic tonight,
Can you hear me, bro?
women. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. There he is. I'm sorry,
All
brother.
right, all right.
Yeah, first I just want to apologize. Yeah, everybody. Let me go through the proper introductions. But first, brother, I just want to apologize as I did in the email about the late start. This video that this brother sent me threw me completely off. I wasn't even, I had no idea about this, and I just decided to add it to the stream. But it kind of threw off my timing for setting everything up. But yeah, I'm so glad that you're here to be able to join us, brother.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here, man. I'm good. I'm writing an article on that video as we speak. That'll be out tomorrow, mate. You know what I mean? So, looking forward
Oh
to that.
yeah, yeah, definitely, bro, definitely. What's your what was I'm trying to say? Your verbs 2007, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely make sure everybody make sure to go by his channel and check that out tomorrow. I'm sure the commentary is going to be magnificent. So, guys, we're going to get right down to it. We have our special guest with us tonight, hailing from the U of K, Great Britain, Babatunde Umana. If you don't mind me asking, brother, what part of the UK are you from? I'm just curious.
Oh, London, East
Oh,
London.
London. Oh, East.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we all heard of East London. It's kind of like South Chicago, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. It's getting rough out here, man.
Damn. Yeah, you got to tell us some more about that. But what I'm gonna do now, because I just, as my audience knows, I just started doing this whole live streaming thing with consistency back in late December, so this is still kind of new for me. But I do know that Google Hangouts, they added a new feature where you can actually share your screen. So what I'm gonna do, everyone, is I'm going to, and we're gonna play this throughout the live stream tonight. I'm gonna play that video again, and then I'm gonna get live reaction from Mr. Umana, and later on we're gonna be touching on what tonight's stream was supposed to originally have been about, which were Black American women's welfare benefits being at risk, and how that's going to affect them and the Black American male and the Black American community. Also, Mr. Umana is going to be sharing with us similar programs in the UK and how that's dealt with proportionately with Black women. So, guys, we're going to get right down to it. Everybody's seen the video at this point. I shared it with Brother David Carroll and Aquazi. And I'm sure they're going to be coming out with videos. I mean, we're some of the first people to get a hold of this, so you can guarantee when the Black Femicunts, when they get a hold of this, it is going to be a shitstorm within the over the course of the next 24 hours. So first, I'm going to get reaction. Let me turn my screen on right quick, and just give me 1 second here. Okay. Everyone tell me when you can see my screen. This might take a second. Okay, great. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to play this right now. And then, Brother Umana, I just want to get your reaction and just hear what you have to say about it. And then, as I told you guys before, about an hour into the stream, I'm going to be inviting some of the other brothers onto the discussion panel. And again, it has to be a brother that I'm familiar with. I'm not just going to have any trolls or simps coming on this motherfucker, because this is for red pill black men only, and we're gonna have a very good stream tonight. So just stand by right quick. Let me play this now that everybody can see my stream. All right, guys. Wait, sorry, let me start it over. Okay, now, let me just say this right off the bat, before I get your reaction, Mr. Umana. Now, I do not in any shape or form condone, you know, children being hurt or injured. But at the same time, I understand, and I'm sure we all understand, that a lot of black youth, especially a lot of black female youth, have not exactly been raised to be normal, regular children. Also, it should be understood that I had the same reaction. I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else, but I had the exact same reaction to this that I had when that hood rat black female that worked at that McDonald's or wherever it was knocked the crap out of that white guy that grabbed her up across the counter. I acknowledged that yes, she was probably a hood thought, but she had every right to defend herself once he put his hands on her first. So let me get your reaction. All of us want to hear your reaction, brother, to this North Carolina video of this white man knocking the fuck out of this thought.
Yeah, I mean, man, that was a left hand straight from the heavens, man. I mean, he just delivered that thing hard. You know what I mean? But yeah, but what do we expect? At the end of the day, look, they're all look. When you start the video, you see someone pushing him from the back. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And what it looks like is like it looks like they've been antagonizing him for a while. So you got different people coming up to him and basically pushing him and doing whatever. You know what I mean? But what happened is what do you call it? And then basically later on in the video, you see one of the chicks just rolls up in his face and he pushes her back. You know what I mean? I think
Right.
that the light skinned chick. You know what I mean?
Right.
She just rolled up in his face, pushing him back. She pushed her back. And then she comes up in his face and raises her hands. If you look at her, you look at it, she starts raising her fists as if she wants to fight the dude. And that's when she got knocked out, man. That's when she
Yeah.
got knocked out. And that's how you got to deal with these violent heifers. That's how you deal with them. You know what I mean?
You're
Because
right.
at the end of the day, that's how they're going around. This is the only way they can be taught. We know how they've been raised. They've been raised in single mother households. You know what I mean? They see their mother do the same thing. Mother's just a belligerent piece of trash, just going around doing what she wants, acting emotionally, and she don't get checked because obviously she's an asset of the state, and the state looks after her. So
Yep.
she's going around doing that. So these little youths think they can do the same thing. They think they can do the same thing, no problem. So you're going to get treated in that manner. Why are you trying to step to a grown man? Where have we seen this? We saw this before with that stupid hood rat in New York who got
Yep.
slapped by the Dominican dude,
Yep.
eight ball hero.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and then we see what do you call it? Then we see what do you call it? The Asian beauty supply owner who choked out a black woman, right? And then you've
Yep.
got basically the other Asian beauty supply owner who basically punched the black woman in the face again. You know what I mean? And now you got this. What's the common denominator? These black women are getting up in your face like they want to
Yep.
fight. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Or,
It's like you know what I mean? You think that non-blacks are not looking at basically YouTube and not looking at World Star Hip Hop and seeing black women involving themselves in battle royales in the street. They just start fights for fun. Yeah, let's get together in this street corner and let's start a fight. I remember I come across one video. I think I featured it before on a few articles where there's a load of black girls on this estate, and they just basically where again you know how everything pans out. It's a one-on-one fight first, and then everybody jumps in, and it's a free-for-all. And there's whoever's recording, they don't know where to turn the camera, man. There's so much action going on all over the place. So again, people are watching that. They see how violent this black witch is, and you expect, and and then obviously when the black woman gets hit now she wants to start basically asserting female. I'm a female. You know what I mean? What you hitting a female for? No. No. You get lashed in your head. And man, when I was, to be honest, when I saw this video, man, I said, yeah, I was clapping, man. I was clapping hard. I said, yep, that's how you deal with these heifers, mate. That's how you deal with them. But yeah, that's unfortunate for the black witch. Again, she's been claiming that she's independent. She don't need a man. She can do it all by herself. Right, let's see how your independence gets to, you know what I mean? Let's see how far it gets you now. Because again, it's the same theme. The same theme. Non-black men punching out these black witches. They don't care because they know they don't have protection. They ain't got no protection, man. So at the end of the day, all right, let's see how far you can get. And again, that's what they done. They did it to themselves. Okay, you wanted to substitute the black man in the home for the state. Okay, no problem. Now you pay the consequences of your actions.
Exactly. And I want to, because I already know what the likes of, this video is clear. It's clear as day that this video is going to be talked about all over Black YouTube within the next 24 to 72 hours. And I already know what the black feminists like the likes of Cynthia G or Paris Milan are going to say. They're going to say that you have black men laughing and applauding not only a black female getting punched by white men, but a 12-year-old black girl being punched, and they're going to try to make it about her age. Now, here's the deal. Number one, none of us really know the true age of these people. We're hearing that it's a 51-year-old white man and a 12-year-old black girl. To me, I'm just saying, to me, that girl looked like she may have been a little bit older than that. I do think she was underage, but at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning, and it's like you said, what does anybody expect? Okay, this is the way these females were raised. This is the way these young males were raised. They're raised in this hyper effeminized matriarchal state of these black women that have this attitude that they can do what they want, say what they want, and society owes them something. And if they don't get what they want, then the world is going to stop fucking turning. And if it doesn't stop fucking turning, then they're going to act like a fucking hyena. And then when they get showed up, and I've seen this happen online, where these broads like a Egypt Ann or Paris Milan, they come at me, I clap back at them virtually, of course, and then they want to play the victim. See, they do this with black men all the fucking time, online and off, and somehow they think it's going to be different. I don't know if it's just by default instinct, or they just think somehow they actually believe this swirling nonsense propaganda bullshit that the white man is somehow going to treat them better. I guess they don't know the history of white men, because a white man will check your motherfucking ass both individually and fucking as a tribe, as a group of people. White men have killed more motherfuckers in this planet than all other races combined. So I don't know where the fuck these black females, I'm trying to control myself and not say the B word because I know we on YouTube. But where these black females got the idea that the white man gonna be their Lord and Savior, I don't know what I don't know what crack
Oh
pipe
man.
they smoking on, but you know how they say puff puff pass. Please don't pass that shit to me because I don't want no part of it. It might be fucking contagious. Whatever infectious disease has taken over their goddamn brains. So I mean, yeah. So what do you think about this argument that we already know is going to be made that this girl, if this is true, and I don't know where people are getting the information that this is a 12-year-old girl. I don't know if there was like a local news story done on it. I haven't really had time to do research on it. It just came out again overnight, and it's just started going viral really this morning. So what is your opinion on that whole, she's a 12-year-old girl, because that's the number one defense that they're going to use.
That's no defense. At the end of the day, she's a 12-year-old degenerate devil. So she gets treated like one, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I mean, they think, oh, let's bring in the age. Let's bring in the age. Well, okay, well, if the girl's 12 years old, then you expect her to behave in a certain type of manner. I mean, you don't expect her to basically go about just pushing big man, This
Right.
guy's 50-something, big man. And she
I
going
wouldn't put my
pushing
hands
the
on
dude.
Right.
You
I
know what
wouldn't
I mean?
put my hands on dude. Right. No,
A
I
big
just saying.
man, and she's...
No,
Yeah,
go
go ahead,
ahead,
bro.
bro. No, I was just
Okay.
saying. I was agreeing with you. I was just saying I wouldn't have put my hands on that big ass Paul Bunyan looking
No.
ass motherfucker.
You know what I mean? She's
Right.
there, oh yeah, I mean, and then again, this is what they do. You notice they're in the group, you know what I mean? They're all like, they literally like, when you see like I don't know, like when you see like you got like in a what do you call it, in a safari, and then you basically got the female lions that start eating the food, and then you got the hyenas that will come along and they'll outnumber the female lions, and they'll start basically like nipping at them and biting them, you know what I mean? Trying to get them away from the meat so they can just
Yep.
go in and basically just rob them. That's what the same thing you saw here. They're just going in. I mean, oh my God, what's wrong with these chicks, man? I mean, and this guy's basically, he's looking around, he's frustrated. I saw a white woman that was beside him. I assume that was his wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's just trying to protect himself, and if that's his wife, he's trying to protect her as well. And you got these black females, literally like hyenas, man. You know what I mean? And I mean, one of them tried to step to him and bosh straight in your head. There you go. She got put to sleep, man. She got put to sleep. Good. That's again. We have to look at the blueprint. Look at John's beauty supply. Again, look at the Asian store owner who basically chokeholded that black woman. Again, look at the guy from New York. And there have been other cases as well where seeing the blueprint on how to deal with these particular kind of black women. That is how you deal with them. You have to basically, again, if they're going to be physically aggressive, you have to put them down quick. I said the same thing in my book, Negro Wars. You got to put them down, man. Because again, what I stated in the book was first they basically start hitting you lightly, slapping you and all that. Then the slap becomes a punch. Then they start reaching for frying pan. Then they want to start reaching for knife and then possibly gun. You know what I mean? So it only escalates. So no. At the first sign of any kind of violence, any kind of physical confrontation from a black witch, you put her down immediately. That's it. Just stomp her down immediately. And yeah, she's gonna learn. She's gonna learn. I had a commenter on an article I did, and he basically told me, he had to taser one of these stupid heifers because he had to taser her, man. Put her down. Then that's when she wanna, again, exactly what you said. She want to come on and she want to start playing the victim. Oh, I'm a female. Why can you do that? And everybody around. But yeah, he's just waving the taser around. Yeah, any one of you next? Which one of you want to stand up and defend this witch? I mean, so he's not having any of it, man. But at the end of the day, that's how you got to deal with him, man.
You know what's truly frightening is when they go to move to make the excuse that she's a 12-year-old girl. The question that they're not going to ask, which is actually frightening, is what the fuck is a 12-year-old girl doing getting in a confrontation that escalates to where she first, because when I zoomed in on the video and played it back several times, I saw, if you slow it down at the moment that the hand pushes the back of this big broad ass white dude, you see that the person, they're wearing like some type of black clothing. And you see,
that's right, yeah.
Right. When you see when he turned around, he pushed the girl, and she was wearing black. And I'm pretty sure, because when the camera turned after he shoved her and she came back at him, I'm about 95 to 98% sure that she was the one that actually shoved him, even though he didn't see who actually pushed him. I don't know if he was guessing or he did see, but he was surrounded by those hyenas. And so
Yeah,
the legitimate question has to be asked. And this is what the likes of these Paris Milans and these Cynthia G's are not going to want to ask. How
exactly.
is a 12-year-old? We're not talking about a little 12-year-old knucklehead ass boy. We're talking about a 12-year-old female, a little girl by most, what would be classified as a little girl by most of society's normal standards. Although we know we're not talking about normal individuals. What the fuck is she doing? How is she raised to the point where she thinks that it's okay, that it's safe, that it's cool to put her hands on not only another person, but a grown ass man, to push him and then dare him to do anything? How are these females being raised? And see, that's going to cut into later when we talk about when I'm going to bring some other people on and we talk about this welfare benefit situation being cut off because of the Trump border wall shutdown. How these free rides that these females are getting over the course of the last 40 years, it's not only made them like feminists, it's also made them very arrogant. I
Right,
said in my video the other day, I said that when you look at the modern day female, essentially what you see is a person who has a huge ego. Her ego is as big as a man's. The problem with females having egos is, okay, when you take away all of the protections that society and government provides them, okay, they are physically, mentally, and emotionally inferior, or if people want to use the other term, weaker than men. Okay,
right,
men have
right,
earned men have earned the right to brag. We have earned the right to have egos. We have earned the right to be arrogant. I'm not saying it's right in every retrospect, but I am saying that when you look at who builds things, who invents things, who creates things, who essentially makes the world go around. Okay, when the electricity gets knocked out because of a snowstorm in your community, who comes around the lineman? He's usually not a female. That's a male
exactly,
that comes around
exactly.
and does all the dirty work, puts his life at risk. These females they're talking about, equal pay. What they're not talking about is they're not willing to work as much overtime as a man. They're not willing to do the nitty gritty, life threatening jobs that men do. By and large, of course, you have some females that are into the trades, but for the most part, it's men that make the world go around. So when you have these females that have this misplaced idea that they're just as strong and they're just as tough as men, that sets a very, very dangerous precedent, not just for them, obviously, with them getting chin checked all over the fucking place, but for society as a whole, man.
Right. I mean, I said it on my last article, 2018, that the L's are going to be rolling in at an astronomical rate for black women in 2019. And then look, we just basically we 13 days into the year now, and look, put off. You know what I mean? This is what lands on our desks. You know what I mean? But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like the age is not a factor, because
No,
the woman is basically she's acting in a way that's not conducive to a 12-year-old. So
right,
again, so how can they turn around? How can they turn around and use the age as a factor? Okay, well, she should be behaving like a 12-year-old, but she's not
exactly.
behaving like a 12-year-old. She's behaving like a big woman. So you're gonna get treated like a big woman. I mean, what,
I'm
what,
glad.
what?
No, I'm sorry. I'm glad you brought that up because that reminds me that here, I don't know how it is in the United. Well, actually, I do know how it is in the United Kingdom because there's been a few rare cases of that. But here, in a lot of states, and it varies by state law, not federal law. When a child of a certain age, usually like under the age of 18, when they commit a serious enough crime, it goes before, I think, a grand jury, and it goes before the district attorney's office, and they decide whether or not to try it in juvenile court or to try the teen as an adult. So say we've had cases where 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds over here have murdered somebody. And in a lot of cases, they will be tried as an adult, even though they were minors. Okay.
Right.
Their crime is an adult crime. So when these feminists, when they go to move and say that this girl and these other little young ass hyenas that start out learning how to be wild and reckless young, not just in physical fights, but sexually and promiscuously as well, when they try to make that defense, they're not going to be able to make that defense because, again, even by law, even by the law, when you commit grown-up crimes, you get charged as a grown-up. Now they'll still throw your ass in juvie until you're like 21, and then you're going to adult prison, standing up with the big boys and girls. And I believe, if memory serves me correctly, back in the mid-90s, if it was, there was a case in Britain where these two young boys, I think it was two young boys, they were like 10 years old apiece. These two 10-year-old white boys, they abducted like this 2 or 3-year-old white kid from a shopping mall. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep. I
yeah,
forget what the names
and
are, but I remember exactly the case you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, and didn't I mean, and they didn't even look like the type of kids that would do something like that, but didn't the judge or something come down hard on them with like
Yeah,
a
I
very
can't
stiff
remember what the
penalty?
Yeah, I think it was, but I can't remember exactly what the sentence was. But yeah, I do remember that case, man. I do remember that case because they showed all the CCTV footage and all that. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
yeah, he wasn't basically the judge wasn't playing with them at all. You know what I mean? Because the
Yeah,
crime they committed, that was a heinous crime, man. You know what I
right.
mean, that was off the damn chain.
Right, and it didn't matter, and that's what we're talking about with this so-called, again, because we don't know her exact age, but this so-called 12-year-old girl. It didn't matter that they were 10 years old. They abducted somebody's child, a 2-year-old child, took advantage of him. I think they took him like into the woods or something and bashed his skull. Just a heinous
Yeah, it was
fucking crime.
nasty.
And
Exactly.
it
Yep.
right, it made the world headlines. It was just so unheard of. And it was no defense, because the thinking is, and I personally believe, and a lot of people in my family and in my circle believe, that there is a such thing as a bad apple, meaning something that was bad from the moment it started to grow on the fucking branch. Okay.
Hmm.
So you can have a situation where you can have kids that they were just born bad. I mean, bad apple, whatever happened in the DNA or the gene pool, something just got them fucked up. So if they commit a fucked up crime, they get what they deserve. Just like if a grown up person does that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't disagree with that at all. But obviously, the black feminists still have a different opinion. I mean, but at the end of the
Right.
day, go ahead, bro.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the black feminists, which is again, this is the majority. The majority of black women are feminists. I mean, look, you
Oh
got
yeah.
96% of black women voted for Hillary Clinton. So I mean, she's a left wing ultra feminist. You know what I mean? So I mean, we can just go by that figure alone. So the overwhelming majority of black women are feminists, but they always, again, it's all about holding on to the victimhood status. That would be their only aim, a victimhood. But at the end of the day, people are getting sick and tired of this black woman. They're getting sick and tired of her. You know what I mean? There's
Yep.
all these excuses. I'm like, okay, well, you're trying to claim this victim, but then look at your behavior, man. Look at what you're doing over here. You know what I mean? And then look how you're raising your children. I mean, and then again, if we go back before that, look who you're basically deciding to open your legs to and procreate with. You know what I mean, it's like all these factors, man, and they think that people aren't looking at this and saying, "Well, wait a minute. I mean, how can this black woman try to play the victim when look at all these things that she's doing. Look at all these acts. So she's walking in. Okay, I want to be a single mother so I can claim welfare from the state. I don't need a man. I'm independent. I mean, that's just skullduggery straight off the bat. And then she's going to talk about, oh, when basically the chips are down, that's when she wants to come back to the thinking black man. She wants to come back to the good black man. You want him to clean up the mess. You know what I mean, that she created. In other words, she wants to revert back to a child. You know what I mean? Well, it's the circumstances. Well, it wasn't my fault. Nah, man, you got a brain, man. Use your damn head. I mean, pick right from the start. But at the end of the day, this black woman did. I mean, a victim of what, man? I mean, let's have a look.
Right.
You're aborting just under 2,000 children per day in abortion clinics in the US, right?
Mm. Yep.
I mean, you sold out basically black men and black society for welfare and feminism. I mean, that's been rolling on for what 50, 60 years now. I mean,
Yep.
you go on basically, you go on, just go onto the streets and just start fighting for the fun of it. You know what I mean? You're wearing the hair of other women on your head. I mean, you just go down the list, man. I mean, a victim of what, man? What are they a victim of?
You're absolutely right, bro. And you know, I'm glad you brought that up as well because statistically, I think I heard there were like 2 million homeless people in the United States. And I know that a majority, just from driving around the major city urban areas, I don't know how it is in Europe, but I know just driving around major urban centers like Chicago, Louisville, Kentucky, I've been out to Los Angeles. A majority of the homeless people out on the street begging in rags, you know, sleeping on street corners are men. And a majority of those men are black men. Okay. And I made
Right,
a video about a year ago. I said, there is no fail safe. Why do you think that there's so many men out here? They hold up signs, homeless, please help. Former military veteran, need food, this, that, or the third. You know, why, whether you believe them or you don't, why are there so many homeless men, but you don't see anywhere near as many women that are in the same situation? Because there's so many fail safes. There's so many
right,
safe houses for women. It's particularly these black women. You know, they have women's shelters for domestic violence. Women with children, they get all kinds of Section 8, WIC, food stamps. They get the federal and state government. They have benefits to help them with their utility bills. I see these hoes driving around. They be driving around in cars newer and more up to date than mine. Some of them have, you know, apartments, houses, and they only working like a minimum wage part-time job. And that was before
right,
Bill Clinton. That was before Bill Clinton signed new legislation into law back in the 90s that required them to either go to school or get a job, a part-time job, to be able to get those benefits. Before that, they were just living fucking freely, like fucking queens land on their ass, like the Queen of England, as a matter
oh
of
yeah,
fact. You know, I mean, just a fucking they literally, the literal definition of a fucking welfare queen. You know, and so, you know, that's why I don't want to hear shit from anybody. Somewhere right now, there's a black man in my hometown of Chicago. He's freezing on the street corner, no health insurance, no benefits. The most he can do is go to a fucking soup kitchen or a food pantry or something. You know, they have men's shelters, but they're nowhere near as plentiful as women's shelters. Okay. Men have no fail safes because society looks at men as like expendable, like that movie with Sylvester Stallone, The Expendables. We are
right,
expendable. We're nowhere near considered, you know, as high a value as women and children, even though women and children need us. That's what I don't
right,
get. I don't
exactly,
understand how society fucked that up. I understand, you know, that originally the concept of chivalry was where women and children are weaker than men, but the entire dynamic has changed. These females, they don't want to be sweet little young, you know, young tart women and mothers anymore. They want to be thoughts. They want to be fucking Cardi B fucking strippers and shit. You know?
right,
I mean, we're
right.
not dealing with the same thing we were dealing with 50 years ago. And I just did a stream about that 2 weeks ago that proved that a lot of the females from back in the day weren't necessarily kosher. I mean, you had more black women that had class, or at least on the outward surface showed themselves as having class, but basically you had a lot of ratchet shit going on back then too. So
Yeah,
why are men, you know, it's just like, you know, why do men have to bow to women to propose to ask for their hand in marriage? Shouldn't that broad be bowing to us? We the ones with the fucking resources. I mean, what the fuck?
yeah. This is the
So
problem when you live in a. This is the problem when you live in a. Was it gynocentric system, man? You live in a matriarchal system, man. They got everything completely backwards. I mean, I'm looking at this. What you just talked about with the man bowing down to the woman. I'm looking at that like that's just completely backwards. You're right. That's completely backwards, man. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're the man. You've got the resources. You build the kingdom. Women are allowed to partake in the kingdom. under certain conditions, i.e., they're obedient. You know what I mean? And they serve the
Right.
men. That's what the woman was made for. She was made to serve the man. But as soon as you come into the West now, everything is flipped on its head. I mean, now all of a sudden we're supposed to cater and serve women. I don't think so. Not me. I mean, at the end of the day, so what we do is we look at the situation and we say, okay, then we're going to do our own thing. So that's where you get all MGTOW and all these different groups springing up, saying, you know what, no, we're not going to bow down to women at all. We're just going to bail out. Or indeed, what we're going to do is we're going to look for women who fit the criteria, who fit the description of a traditional woman. You know what I mean? So that's what a lot of black men are doing now. They're saying, forget this rubbish, man. We're not dealing with these Western black women. Those Western black women are gone, man. This Western black woman is so far gone. She's not even worth a bar of soap at this stage, man. She is completely dead, man. You know what I mean? Just like the lack of morality, amoral position. I mean, just doesn't appreciate anything. I mean, she just has a complete and utter disdain and hatred for black men. She's basically enjoys working for the state. I mean, to shaft black men and shaft black society. I mean, it's like and basically we seem to get more help from outsiders, from women outside. We get more help as black men. We'd get more help from white women than basically black women. I mean, look, when you look at these anti-abortion, when you look at these pro-life rallies, who you see in the crowd? The majority of the people in the crowd is white women. And again, who's assassinating the most amount of children? Black women.
It's
You see
sad,
that?
man.
You know what I mean?
It's sad. It's scary. You know what is so frightening to me is I have a black female family member, and I'm not gonna identify what relationship we have, but she is devoutly Christian. And even though she is devoutly Christian, she'll go around, testifying about Jesus, all this, that, and the third, and telling people, if you don't believe, if you don't read the Bible, if you don't get born again, you're going to hell. But this is the same woman who, back in her early 20s, had an abortion. She had an
Right.
abortion. She authorized the killing of a child inside of her womb. And I'm just sitting here awestruck. It's like black women as a collective and as individuals, they don't, kind of like that little girl that ran up on that grown ass white man. It's like their emotions jump ahead of whatever little bit of brain, whatever little bit of brain molecule they have inside of their empty skull, because it's like they say things and they do things without really thinking about it. And that's why they
Right.
always find themselves taking L's. And that's why they find themselves in the rut that they find themselves in now, with this this welfare crisis, all this, I'm strong, independent. I don't need a man, this, that, and the third, I believe in Jesus. Yet at the same fucking time, you're doing things that are, in the complete opposite of what you claim to believe in and what you claim to have. You know, if I did a community post the other day about this whole welfare situation because of this Trump shutdown, and a lot of people, especially these Captain Save-A-Ho ass niggas, a lot of whom are living up in the Section 8 houses and apartments of these broads, got butt hurt about it, even though they claim that they weren't. This is really striking a chord, just the threat of this, because it hasn't really happened yet, but just the threat of this shit happening, has a lot of black males and females with their panties in a bunch. And I'm like, wait, hold on a fucking second. I thought you were strong and independent, didn't need no man. God got your back. Where's all that shit now? See, you can only, that's only a veneer. It's only a cover. And I told niggas before, y'all keep sweeping shit under the rug. It's only a matter of time before that rug lumps up. Somebody steps on that shit, gets curious, and lifts that shit the fuck up and sees that it's nothing but a bunch of bullshit that you've been trying to hide underneath there while pretending like everything's fine and dandy on the fucking top. And that's where we
Yep.
find ourselves here in black society. That's where the black female finds herself in black society now, with her ass up in the air. And now it's like what's his name said in that action movie? What now, bitch? What now? He was talking to a man, but still, this female. I had to drop the B word at least one time. What
Oh
now,
man.
bitch? What now? So I want to ask you,
Oh
brother. I want to ask you because I know you're very familiar with how these Black American hyenas act. But I said in the beginning that I was always interested with, like, I know that from things I've heard, I know France is just a running shithole. I mean, it's a disgrace in many retrospects. I'm sure it has good spots, but how about Great Britain? I know that this westernized feminist culture has really infected the entire world, including parts of Africa, the Caribbean, Europe, Canada. But how do like you had mentioned earlier about the mall brawls that were going on, that were going viral in video a couple of years ago, where it was mostly black females just in malls just fighting each other. I mean, dozens, sometimes hundreds of these little bastards. And so I'm wondering, in comparison to the United States, how bad is it with black females in Great Britain?
Um, yeah, it's more or less the same, but it's just on a smaller scale. I mean, I walk the streets regularly, and you see all these black girls, 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds wearing weave in their head. They're
Mm-hmm.
loud, they're boisterous. What do you call it? You've got basically a lot of African women here engaging in skin bleaching. You know what I mean? You just look at them; they look like hideous monsters, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They've
they
got
do.
a basically skin bleached face, and then basically
Yeah.
when you look at the hands are all blotchy, where they, you know what I mean? They're applying all this skin bleaching cream. You know what I mean? Trying to whiten themselves. In relation to the fighting, it's the same, but it's on a smaller scale. But
Mm-hmm.
if it was it, I think it was back in 2015, just up the road from me here. There's these two black females went to a college. They went to a college to fight over a man, and it spilled out onto the street, and it spilled into the town center, and it completely shut down the town center. The whole town center
Wow.
was shut down. Traffic was shut down. Buses basically all over the place. Buses can't move. You know what I mean? Police all over the place trying to catch this person, trying to catch that person. It was complete and utter mayhem, man. So I mean, that doesn't really happen that often here. But I mean, these black heifers over here, they're still unruly. They're still violent. You know what I mean,
Wow.
again, just like in the United States, but obviously over here now, black men are dating out at a much higher rate. We're dating
Mm,
out here. The dating out rate over here is 55%. You know what I mean?
damn.
So yeah, it's very high here. Very high. We recognized long time that this black witch is basically no good, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, we just bailed out. I mean, back in 2000, I think in 2007, it was like 48%. You know what I mean? 48%. It was I think it works out to, I think it's 80 something percent like black men from the Caribbean. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
basically, I think it's about 30 something percent black men from Africa. So they just average that out. It works out to be about 55%. You know what I mean? So yeah, we recognized long time ago that this black woman was worthless because again, we grew up in the same environments. You know what I mean?
Right.
Back in the day, before you call it what do you call it? You call it
Was it
child
five?
protective services.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you call it child protective services over there. Over here, we call it social services. Back in the day, when before social services started stepping in, what black women used to do is when they left for work, a lot of them, these single mothers, what they'd do is they'd kick the boys out the house and they leave the
Mm-hmm.
girls. They allow the girls to stay in the house. You know what I mean? So they were
Mm-hmm.
called latchkey kids. You know what I mean? So the
Mm-hmm.
boys obviously they had, well, okay, I've got to find something to occupy my time until my mum gets back. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's where a lot of this crime and you know what I mean, a lot of this misguidance came from. I mean, the fact that these mothers are just basically kicking these boys out the house, they don't care about them. You know what I mean? They don't pay them any mind, don't pay them any attention, don't show them any
Mm-hmm.
love, don't show them any affection whatsoever. You know what I mean? And that affects a child's psyche, man. You know what I mean? You just neglect a child. That's a form of abuse. I mean, you just neglecting the child. You don't show the child love. You don't kiss the child. You don't hug the child. You know what I mean? Which is another thing I don't like about this Western culture, because
Right.
you basically you're not allowed to show affection to your children without some shine getting up in your face talking about, oh, you pedophile, you trying to abuse your child. You know what I mean? That behavior is a bit dodgy. You go to non-Western countries, man. You can show your child affection. You know what I mean, without any problem. So that's another thing that I noticed that happens in the West, to where that puts a divide between the child and the parents. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and then the state steps in, and then obviously the state has the children for most of the day. You know what I mean? For most of the week, the state steps in and puts in its decadent values, putting in the decadent values into the child, And then that's how a lot of these children grow up dysfunctional. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, these black women over here, they're doing the same thing. Like they're claiming the welfare. You know what I mean, back in the day, it's like there was a saying over here: if you wanted to get a free house from the council, you know what I mean, just basically go and get pregnant. You know what I mean, that was a common saying over here. I knew one guy. He was married to a woman, and her mother basically she knew every benefit that you could get. You know what I mean? She knew
Uh,
every benefit, man. She was a
every trick in the book.
professional benefit claimer. Every benefit that basically was available that she could get her hands on, she was getting it. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're pulling the same stunts over here. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But the difference between see the black woman over here and the black woman in the United States is the black woman in the United States has been weaponized. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she got all these platforms. Yeah, she's been weaponized. You know, it's black women in the UK don't have a voice. They're just like black men. They don't have a voice. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what they're doing is you'll notice now there's an uptick in black women from the United Kingdom jumping on US platforms like Grapevine and I think Madame Noir, some of those platforms they're jumping on to get their voice heard. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? But
Right.
again, it's the same thing. They embraced feminism over here. They done the same thing, kicked the man out of the house. See, the UK government looked at the US's blueprint for like this single black mother blueprint, and basically when black women when the UK government approached black women with the same offer, they took it. They didn't look at basically black women in the US and recognize, you know what, this has gone downhill, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's not accept this. No, they went ahead and took it. I mean, so now they're
Right.
suffering the same fate. So instead of, I'm not sure about the interracial dating rate in the States. Some people say it's different. Some people say between 14 and 25%. I'm not sure about the figure. But yeah, so
Mhm.
they took it and now they're suffering with a 55% interracial dating rate between black men and non-black women. So that's their problem. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, again, everything that's happening to this black woman is basically is recompense. So it's not a
Mhm.
case where, oh, these things are just happenstance, or you know what I mean, like, well, why are these things happening to me? Like, what's going on? No, it's all recompense. This is your repayment, man, for
Right.
transgressions committed. That's your repayment, man. So
There you
these
go.
black women have got to accept it. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. Black women are gonna have to stew, marinate, and burn in their own failures, man. Don't
That's the
save
only,
them. Walk away from them. That's it.
that's the only way they're gonna learn. You're absolutely right, brother. Now, just to be accurate, it's the black population in the UK. You guys make up what, 3% of the population? Is that right? Or
Yeah, that's right. 3%. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, 3%. And how much? How many of those? I would imagine it's a few more black women than black men. What, like 2% of the population, or was it one point
I think,
five?
yeah, I imagine it between about 1.5 to 1.7.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And it's crazy that wherever, it's really sad that wherever you find black people, whether you're talking about East London, South Chicago, New Orleans, you pretty much find the same conditions everywhere they go. You find the same conditions, and it's really because of the same ass backwards mentality that's been adopted. It was blamed on slavery over here, but from what I understand about the history of England, they abolished slavery a couple of hundreds of years ago. So the women and the people over there, they don't have the same excuse. They don't have the same connection with slavery, so they can't use that excuse. They're basically, like inheriting, like digesting what they see, through a TV screen, or through music, or through social media, that they see going on over here. And it's almost like black people, black females in general, are drawn like water bugs to a damn stale pail of fucking water, to drama and stupidity and ratchetness. And I mean, no matter where you find them. You talked about earlier the skin lightening epidemic amongst African women. um and it's just crazy. I found out that in Kenya alone, I think they said like 77% of the female population uses some type of skin lightening product on their face. And not only do they use it, a lot of the times they're using underground chemicals that cause cancer. They are so desperate. to become white. Never mind the fact that they're throwing themselves at white and Asian men over there. They're so desperate to become white, they are risking skin cancer. And a lot of them are getting
Right.
it and still using the shit. And I'm sometimes I really I I sit down and I try to figure out where did we go wrong, psychologically as a collective of people. We can't blame it on slavery because none of us in current day are slaves. We can say, those of us here in the United States, we can say, well, the white ancestors of the white people that were living back then, that are living now, they put in motion this ass backwards mindset by subjugating black people. But I mean, we just had a black president that was of African origin at that. Well, a half black president by some people's standards in the damn White House. So it's obvious
Right.
that, yes, racism still exists, but it's nowhere near on the scale that it was before. You'll hear a Paris Milan or a Cynthia G talk about evil albinoid devils and all of this shit, but racism is not the same as it was before. It just fucking isn't. And so
No.
they can't. It's like Malcolm X said. He said that's the wrong stick to beat me with. You can't beat me with that stick anymore. This is not the racism has nothing to do with the way these thought bots, as I call them, are acting in the streets, on social media, in these schools, on these streets. That's not the reason. Um,
Right.
yeah, I want to give you a opportunity to respond to this one comment that I saw by Jay Jurassic a little bit back in the chat. Jay Jurassic said, "I went to London last summer. It was night and day to the U.S. The black people there looked and acted very respectably, as far as I seen."
Right. Yeah. Obviously, you've got your middle class blacks. I mean, you'll find that. I mean, but you go to some of these areas like northwest London. You go to Harlesden, Willesden. I mean, you go to some of these areas, man. Oh, you'll find out, man. It's like going into the projects, mate. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's I mean, so yeah. Again, it depends what areas you're visiting. Like you're visiting the tourist spots and all that, like
Right,
Westminster or Trafalgar Square. You know what I mean? Or Piccadilly Circus or Oxford Circus. I mean, you're
right.
visiting the tourist spots. So yeah, obviously, you know what I mean. It's like you're gonna get a higher caliber. You're gonna get a higher class of black person there, but you start basically coming out of the center of London and you start going to the outskirts. You know what I mean, you're gonna
Mhm.
run into some really rough areas, man. You know what I mean, really rough areas. I mean, there's an area called Harlesden. I mean, that was really bad back in the 80s and 90s, man. That was terrible. You know what I mean,
Oh
that was
yeah, I
like
think
back.
I heard about that.
Yeah, man,
I
that
think
was
I
like
heard about
back in the day Bronx. You know what I mean? But like back in the day Queens type, you know what I mean? Harlem type flex, you know what I mean? That was really
it.
bad.
Mhm.
But
And
obviously,
that
like things, yeah, go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna ask. That's kind of like the Robert Taylor homes before they were torn down in Chicago. Kind of like the projects. Was
Right.
it like public assisted housing? What you're talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
or?
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. All these big, dirty tower blocks, man, high tower blocks. You know what I mean? All over the place. Now they've
Mhm.
torn them down and they basically replaced them with houses. You know what I mean, but obviously it's calmed down a lot. But obviously you just moved the scum from a big tower block into a house.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, the scum is just basically they're going to remain the scum. You know what I mean? Because it's their mindset, not the building. I mean,
Right.
so yeah, so
Exactly.
yeah, it's things have kind of improved, but again, you've got this epidemic of like people being stabbed. You know what I mean, you've got all these
Hmm.
youths, you know what I mean, being stabbed and all that. That's an epidemic that's basically getting out of control now. I mean,
Right.
so and then who's mostly involved in that? It's black youths. The black youths mostly
Yep.
involved in that. Again, why? Because they're raised in these single mother households where these black women are not, again, the king of the black woman is the state. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
the state doesn't put any moral values into this black woman. It's not like having a black man there where a black man will instill morals and a standard.
Hmm.
The state doesn't put any morals and a standard into the black woman. So she just does what she wants. Okay, well, I get my weekly or monthly check from the state. That's good enough for me. And she doesn't bother. Again, these black women, they hate black children. I mean, they love mixed race children as long as the mother is black. I mean, if the father is black, then they hate the mixed race children as much as they hate black children. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's just a case. Again, there's no checks and balances, no accountability, no responsibility. You know what I mean? It's like it's just off the chain, man. But at the end of the day, again, it's the government, man. This government is the key factor. See, we can't go back. See, with black people in the UK, we can't really claim the slavery part, but we can claim the feminist part and the government intervention part. So will you guys? Well, I know you've got some guys who try to claim the slavery part, but again, it's like what David Carroll keeps saying. Well, hold on a second. Well, why wasn't this dysfunction prevalent amongst the people who were closer to the emancipated slaves? So they can't, you know what I mean? But even though they use that part, I mean, I mean, you could basically, you can't bring it in, but some people use it. But with Britain now, there's no room for that. So we have to start from the feminism. What happened is the there was a group called the Equal Opportunities Commission, and they were the ones who started bringing in these gynocentric, these feminist policies. I mean, started basically offering these single mothers money to basically like have children willy nilly. I mean, no man in the house. I mean, they just started paying them one by one. There you go, there you go. And then we've got what we have today. I mean, so it's the same thing. I mean, but that feminism, man, that feminism and that government intervention, that is a beast, man. I mean, that'll destroy a family, man. That's why I understand. Like, I mean, as bad as China is, man, they stamp these feminists, man. They stamp them on the head. They don't want that in their country. I mean, they don't want any of that. So at the end of the day, I mean, again, it's this feminism and it's this gynocentric system and these government policies that favor women and that basically, instead of shunning single mothers, they basically salute single mothers and they basically prop them up. Hello? Hello? Hang on a second. Yeah, can you hear me, bro? Okay, okay. You guys can hear me. Okay, cool, cool. No, I can't hear you, bro. I can't hear you. I mean, the guys in the chat are saying they can hear me. I mean, but I can't hear you at all. Yeah, certain powers that be don't want these conversations going on, man. Nah, still can't hear you, bro. Still can't hear you. Still can't hear you, man.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me
Ah, now
now?
you're back. Yep, yep. You're
Oh,
back
that's
now. You're back.
okay. I
You're back.
apologize. My damn headphone, the button it went off for some strange reason. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so yeah, we were talking with Babatunde Umana, our special guest tonight, and he was relating the crisis, the ongoing crisis that we're having here in the United States, relating it to what's been going on in the UK. And I was just about to ask him, because I've always been interested about geopolitical issues. Now I know that the welfare, this welfare system over here, it got out of whack back in the late 70s, going into the 80s with this just flood of allowance of unsupervised allowances of black women to be able to go and get these public assistance benefits without any, without any proof that they actually necessarily needed this, like meaning they weren't able-bodied to get a job or something of that nature. When did it start? Like how long after when it started over here in the late 70s, early 80s? When did it really start going off over there in the UK with just them giving those black women money just for the sake of having illegitimate bastard children?
Yeah, it started over here. It started like in the early 90s. So it started a bit later. I mean, because
Okay.
obviously, like what I said before, the UK government looked at the blueprint that the US had introduced. I mean, and they
Hmm.
decided to embark on the same thing. So it started in round about the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, so
Really?
we'll say we're about 10 to 20 years behind. I mean, but the effects are still the same, man. They're still the same.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, but it's
So
like I was saying. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
now I was just gonna ask. So, I know you been born and lived in the UK all your life. How was it? Because a lot of people have compared the way black culture was prior to Lyndon Baines Johnson's so-called war on poverty, which actually began in the late '60s and spilled over into the '70s before they started allowing the abuse of the welfare assistance programs in the late '70s. How was the small black culture? I know you guys are significantly a smaller part of the population in the UK than we are over here. How was black culture in Great Britain prior to these, not only these welfare assistance programs, but really, the pro-feminist hip hop culture type of influence that has really, unfortunately, poisoned the minds of black people all around the world?
I mean, you got it was a lot better. Obviously, it wasn't perfect, but it was a lot better than it is today. I mean, black people were more knit, and I think a large reason for that was the fact that we were being persecuted. See, black people tend to stick together under persecution. I mean, to be
Mhm.
honest, that's the best. That's our best. That's when we perform our best. I mean, like we're
Right.
we're basically persecuted. You know what I mean? So yeah, we were more close knit. You know, we used to work together, used to be genuine to one another. I mean, it was so far so much different. I mean, and then when they introduced these government policies, man, like you started to see things slowly change. Again, this black witch, all she does is think about money and materials. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So she thought, yep, okay, well, I can get again that same spirit funneled
Mhm.
down from the American black female into the British black female. And she thought, yep, I can get myself, I can get one up on black men. I mean, I can better myself. So I mean, so again, she decided to take the bait. But yeah, black society was a lot better, man. We really stuck together. We were like really, we could honestly call ourselves a community. I mean, like had our own shops. You know what I mean? It's like we're selling our own hair products and all this. This is before. See, over where you are, it's like the
Mhm.
Koreans who dominate the hair products, dominate the beauty supply and hair products. Over here,
Right.
it's the Pakistanis and Indians. They're the ones
Right.
who dominate over here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I remember like like certain black areas walking in. Oh, it's a black person who owns the hair shop. You know what I mean? Of
Right.
course, back in the back in the 80s and all that, there was no weave and all this business. But I
Right.
mean, you just had your everyday products and all that. But yeah, it was typically black people, man. But then slowly these Indians started rolling in. In fact, there's a shop just up the road from me, and it's got something Africa on the front of the shop, but it's run by nothing but Indians, man. That's how
Yep.
brazen and bold these guys are. I
Hmm.
mean, something I have to take a picture of it, man. Something African food or something like that. And you look in the shop and it's run by nothing but Indians, man. And that's a shame
Yep.
because back in the day it was run by black folks. It's run by
Yep.
black folks, man. But again, as soon as that feminism kicked in, and as soon as that, what do you call it? As soon as these government policies to favor single mothers kicked in, man, that was it, man. That was it. It's a
Hmm.
crying shame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and then you've got black women going around talking about, oh, black men basically they're not building anything. Not oh, look, man, I don't build for traitors and scum, man. I'm building. I'm just
Amen.
not building with you. I'm not building
The
with you.
good.
That's what they see. See, this is the thing, man. These black women don't understand, man. Thinking black men are building, they're just not building with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
They just
Why
don't
should we?
understand that. Exactly. I mean, these
Right.
again, they don't look at the treachery and like the traitorous acts that they've committed against black men and black society for the past 60 years. Get the fact that they're killing off our people via abortion. That's the number one killer of black people in black society
Yep.
right now. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And they're not looking at that. They're not looking at the fact that they're basically dackering and besmirching the image of blackness by wearing all these weaves on their head. You know what I mean? They're ashamed of their own hair. That's number one. And then the skin bleaching. You know what I mean? Then they're wearing all the blue, green, grain contact lenses. You know what I mean? They're
Hmm.
just all these actions that they're committing. They're trying to distance themselves from being black, but then they expect the black man to protect them. You know what I mean, it's
Yep.
just ridiculous, man. Absolutely
Right.
out of the question. So
Exactly.
again, it's again,
Right.
again, when you look at this black woman's history, when you look at her track record, she does not deserve protection based upon an atrocious track record, man. I don't know how these black women still have the audacity and the cheek to ask for protection. And then you look at what they're not only what they've done in the past, but what they're doing today. It's a cheat, man. You know what I mean? And then
Hmm.
apparently, there was or some I watched. Was it? I watched a video by a Kid Organic, and he was
Hmm.
talking about this new black female YouTuber on the scene now. What's her name? Irene Yvette, and
Oh
how
God, that
her
bitch.
yeah, and how her Cynthia G and was it this who's this other woman? The Nyla says is it? And I mean they
Yeah,
all
now I
had
understand.
some yeah they all had a Black Witches summit. You know what I mean? They all got
Yep.
together, and apparently this Irene woman was talking about black men were weak during slavery. I mean I'm like wait a minute, heifer. Like I came across some information a while back. I can't remember where it came from, but there was a particular individual who kept a journal during slavery. And one of the things that this person noted was how these black women would just throw themselves at the slave master. They would
Yeah.
just willingly, they would just throw themselves. You know what I mean? It's like if this person noted, yeah, I know how these black women are just throwing themselves at these white men. You know what I mean? Despite the atrocities that these white men have brought to them, they're just throwing themselves, they're whoring themselves out for these white men. They engage in orgies, all kinds of sexual deviances for these white guys. It's like the person was noting all this down. So I'm thinking, well, hold on a second. How are you going to call us weak and you there instead of fighting for your freedom? You know what I mean? You fighting to basically get some white penis in you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
then another case was what do you call it? The slave revolts. The
Hmm.
overwhelming majority of slave revolts, there was men trying to escape, trying to get their freedom. Not these women. These women were cool. Black women had it good during slavery, you know. Don't let them fool you, you know. They had it good. They had it real good. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like they try and make it seem as if, this was some sort of this was terrible for us. Oh, we were raped and all this. No, most of the sexual encounters they had with the slave master were consensual. You know what
You
I
know.
mean? That's another nugget. That's another nugget they don't tell you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you touched on something, man. When look, David Carroll and myself, to my knowledge, we were some of the first people to bring the possibility of this up a couple of years ago, and people were lit. He talked about it. He said that, he had no proof of it, but knowing the nature of the black female. And I said, knowing just human nature, period, and the nature of the female, period. I find it high, and the fact that we know of stories like Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings, okay, I found it highly unlikely that white men were just raping all of these black female slaves that had all of these biracial children that we see the descendants of, like, these light skinned, yellow tone Negroes came from today. Okay, there's no way possible that white men could have raped that many black women, and it have just went completely unchallenged. I mean, at the very least, they would have been running away or something. Okay,
Right.
a lot of that stuff, knowing female nature, because females, and particularly black females, they are drawn to men of power. They are drawn to resources. And at the time, obviously, black men did not have power and we did not have resources. We were
Right.
subjugated, we were enslaved, we were taken against our will. So they're going to naturally gravitate towards, the person who does have the power and the influence and the resources. And given how backstabbing a lot of these black females are, and females in general, you got to think about the fact of how they act now. And you think if they were in that situation back then where they were field slaves, walking around barefoot, picking cotton and all of that, they're not thinking about, their tribe of people. They're not thinking about the black men. A lot of them probably wasn't even thinking about their children. They're thinking about how can I make my life better. And
Right.
of course, it's natural, it's human nature. When the white master got some, when he got some of that, black cherry cobbler, he probably did treat her a little better. He not in every case, but there were probably cases where, the black female slave, she slung a pussy, on the crap table, and she probably got to sleep in the big house or something like that,
Right.
behind master in the room.
Right.
I'm sure they got some type of benefits. There's no, because it takes a lot of energy, just like it takes energy to fight. It takes energy to sexually assault or rape somebody. A woman ain't just gonna let you, rape her, even if she is enslaved. And like I said, she could run away. So
Right.
I know a lot of that stuff, and people don't want to talk about it. A lot of that stuff was consensual. And so, this whole idea of the bed winching thing being something new, it's really something that's been going on. I mean, I just did a video and a stream about how many famous celebrity black women were with white men back in the day, like during the so-called roaring 20s all the way up to the baby boomer generation. How many of these Hollywood females um were with white men, Dorothy Dandridge, Eartha Kitt, Lena Horne. You go down the list. As soon as they got the opportunity to get close to white men, they wasn't thinking about black men. The same thing they did in slavery, the same thing that they're doing now. Only most of them, the only difference between back then and now is most of them, they don't have to have direct contact with white men. They don't have direct contact with white men. They're fucking these thugs because they can afford to, because white daddy has set up this program allowing them to misuse and abuse it to take the place, to supplement and take the place of, where there would be a father figure and a black man who's a bread earner and a protector in the household. So that's how
Right.
they're connecting with white daddy now. But now with this Donald Trump thing, they're shaking in their boots because they're realizing that, white daddy may be getting ready to pull the fucking plug. And that's after he get done knocking their ass the fuck out. When we see the video.
Oh
Bam!
man.
Bam!
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, before we move on, and I open up the panel to a couple of other brothers. And for those of you who would like to join the panel discussion, I'm going to put my email right here. Please email me and identify yourself, and you will be able to join what I think we're going into the second hour of the panel here. And we're going to have a few more Red Pill brothers on the panel talking about the title at hand, welfare benefits and at risk, and white men KTFO'ing them. Have black women painted themselves into a corner? So there's my email. I'm going to type it one more time for you guys. BrianSolange2 at gmail.com. Email me right now if you want to join the discussion. Anyway, before we move on, brother, to this welfare thing, and we bring some other people on the panel. Now, black women, they have this little phrase that they like to say, um, called spilling the tea. And so I'm going to steal a page out of their book, and I want you to spill the tea for the audience, for me and the audience, because there are two things. Well, one thing particularly, but two things in total that I've been dying to know about uh, recent events and celebrities coming out of Great Britain. Number one, Naomi Campbell. Okay, we know, that I think she's married to some rich Russian. I also know that she originated, I think her origins are in Was East London, is that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And so I know that she was born before the whole, like you said, the whole change up with the welfare, with the welfare programs that were put in play. But I've often pondered, and I haven't really had time to do research. Was Naomi Campbell before the fame, before the swirling and the celebrity status and all of that? Was she just your typical, everyday, run of the mill British black hood thought, or was
yeah.
she higher class?
I believe she was. I believe she was. I mean, because as soon as she like basically moved on to the modeling and all that, again, it's what's funny with these black women is they create the dysfunctional black men that they complain about. I mean,
Hmm.
so she basically, as soon as she got the opportunity, she started picking up the modeling career and all that. You know what I mean? That's when she started, what do you call it? That's when she started just branching out and she's dating all these white guys and all that. But yeah, from what I understand, she was like not so bad because obviously you have to. She had some decorum about her to pursuing this modeling career. You know what I mean? So but she
Hmm.
was still to a degree. She was still like your typical hood rat to a degree. But she had enough
Right.
decorum to basically like, okay, right. When it comes down to getting this money or when it comes down to getting this modeling work, you know what? Let me just buckle up.
Hmm. So you think that the whole modeling thing was basically like a come up for her? It was a scheme, not necessarily to become like a fashion supermodel that just kind of developed, but it was kind of like a come up for her to be able to get out of the hood, so to speak. Like
Yeah,
get
that's
gather
exactly yeah.
resources.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what
And
it
I
was.
mean,
Yeah.
right, and if you know the nature of females, I mean, it pretty much it runs right along the lines of black female nature. It's almost instinctive that they're going to leave everything and everybody else behind and only think of themselves. But then when the shit hits the fan, they want everybody else to think of them. It's a classic. It's a classic. You scratch my ass and I'll scratch mine type of scenario with these hoes. You know?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
black women
Did you
are
remember?
they're all
Mhm.
yeah, go ahead, bro.
Now, I was just gonna say, Crystal and Karen, perfect example. All that talking shit about black men, and then 2 years ago, when that veganator white boy lit a fire underneath her ass, she comes crying to black men, asking us where were we to defend her against this white dude. That's
Yeah,
why
with
we had a
this
field day against this bitch. Oh
yeah,
God, I
exactly. I
can't
mean,
believe
like
her.
that was a joke, man, with a crocodile tear self. I mean, rolling up, you know what I mean? Oh, you black men ain't protecting and all this. And I just looked at her crying. I'm like, really, witch? I mean, really? I mean, that's the
Right.
Kansas City shuffle you're trying to roll with me. I mean, I'm like, whatever, man. That's why I just went in on her in the article, man. I mean, I just went in. I wrote a couple of
Mm,
articles in that whole episode. I wrote a few articles on that. But again, it's like again, it's this the audacity, man. How this black look at what this black woman has done to black men. Look at what she's done to herself. Look at what she's done to black society. She's put the majority of black societies in ruins. You know what I
yep.
mean? I mean, she's working on behalf of the state. We clearly see what she's doing. I mean, that's a contractual obligation to okay, you've destroyed 70-80% of black society. Now you've got to finish the job. I mean, that's what the state has ordered her to do, and that's what she's going about doing. This is why she opens her legs to 12 gauge Mike, Crenshaw, Lil Cheesy, and basically Jay Boogie from the block. I mean, that's why she
Little
opens her
cheesy.
legs to those dudes. I mean,
Little cheesy.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's
I
all these.
mean it's right. They can afford. See, like I said, going back to what I said before, black men cannot afford to fuck up. That's why, over here, more than 70% of the prison population is black males. That's why, we have the lowest life expectancy. That's why the highest number of homeless people, of the 2 million homeless in the United States of America, are black men. We can't afford to fuck up. There are no fail safes for us, for the most part.
Right.
Okay. For them, they can afford to fuck up to the point where they get so arrogant, okay, that they think that they can outright say, I don't need a man. I'm strong. I'm strong and independent, when they're the exact opposite. They get so arrogant they think they can run up on a man, get in his face, because they know that white daddy, all they have to do is call the police and get him locked up, at least with black
Right.
men. It gives them a sense of arrogance, as it would give anybody. It's natural.
Right.
If you wake up every day and there's somebody washing your ass for you and wiping your ass when you take a shit, I mean, why are you gonna feel like you have to get up and do anything besides breathe? Right? I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly.
of course you're gonna be an arrogant fucking prick because you don't understand what it means to struggle. And I hear these people talking about, oh, well, black women, they have it so fucking hard. Yes, they are living under the poverty line, but they have something that when they slip and fucking fall, either by accident or usually because of their own bad fucking choices, when they slip and fall, there's a net to keep that's gonna catch them before they hit the concrete and get turned into fucking oatmeal. For black men and men in general, there is no net for us in most cases. There is no
Right.
fucking net, you know?
Exactly. I mean,
Right.
and what's funny is they're the ones who have the greatest spending power in black society, but yet they have greater spending power, but yet their median net worth is only $5 on average. Yet a black man
Mhm.
has a median net worth of over 6,000. How does that work, man? And they've got big daddy government behind them. You know what I mean? They're talking
Yep.
about, oh, we having it so hard. Well, stop spending money on weave. Stop spending money on skin bleaching products. Stop trying to look white. You know what I mean? Lose some damn weight. I mean, go to the gym. You know what I mean? All these basic things they won't do, man. And they're talking
Yep.
about we got it hard. But again, it's this feminist protocol of always pushing the victimhood narrative. They always got to push it forward. Always got to push it forward. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. But no one's seeing them as a victim. Who's seeing
Right.
them as a victim? No one's like, oh, here we go. Everyone's like, oh, here we go again. Oh, all right then, mate. I mean, no one is
Right.
seeing them as victims anymore. They're in trouble,
Right.
man. They're in
Getting
trouble.
tired of
Again,
that
that's why you see, that's why you see all these, videos of them getting their heads busted wide open, man. Busted wide
Right.
open. Yeah,
Black men are getting tired of their shit.
Yep.
White men are getting tired of their shit. The police are getting tired of their shit. Other black bitches are getting. Oh, there I go with the B word again. Damn it, I said it. It's hard not to say it. I don't know, man.
Oh, man.
I try to train my. But everybody's getting tired of their bullshit. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. Hence the title of this stream: Have black women painted themselves into a corner? So I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then we're gonna there's a couple of brothers that have emailed me. I'm gonna let them come on. But I also wanted to because I never did quite understand what happened. In 2011, there were riots in, I believe, London and some of the surrounding suburbs over the shooting of this biracial brother by the name of Mark Dugan.
Yeah.
I wanted to get kind of like your take. I know you were probably there and you saw all the craziness. What was that about, and what was Mark Dugan's background? And did the ratchetness of black women, or at least the ratchetness of the environment, contribute to that whole situation? Because from what I understand, police in not all police in England carry guns. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. And this was like a special unit that was already following this guy, and they like knew that he was armed or something like that. Tell us, spill the tea on that as well, brother.
Yeah. Basically, what happened is they were following this guy. It turns out he didn't have a gun. You know what I mean? Like but they basically just shot him anyway. And so it seems that this was planned and coordinated. So they followed this guy, Mark Duggan. They followed him, and then basically they stopped him. The area they stopped him in, I know very well. You know what I mean? It's an area called Tottenham. I mean, there's an area. There's a what you'd call a metro station called Tottenham Hale Station. You know what I mean? So just around that area, they stopped him. They stopped the car. They basically shot him. You know what I mean? And then I think they arrested the cab. I think the guy was in the cab or something. So they arrested the cab driver. How backwards is that?
Wow.
He's not involved. He's just transporting this guy to wherever he wants to go. And they arrested the cab driver. So from there now, basically, that's where that's how the riots sparked off. But see, the interesting thing is when these riots kicked off, the police were told to stand down. They were told not to do anything. That's how I think this was orchestrated, man. I mean, you got these riots kicking off. You got basically people just burning down everything left, right, and center. I mean, just doing what they want. All these shops getting looted. I mean, all these sports shops. You know, with like you got like Foot Locker and all that. We got Foot Locker over here. We got Sports Division. We got JD Sports. I mean, you've got all these different sports shops. They're all getting looted. You've got say you've got Walmart and you've got your various stores that sell like electrical equipment, TVs, videos, DVD players, and all that. I mean,
Mhm.
you got the same shops over here. They were looted as well, and these police were told to do nothing. They didn't do
Wow.
anything. Yeah, so this is what I'm thinking. Well, wait a minute. This is kind of suspicious, man. Why are these police being told to stand down? You know what I mean, I
Count.
think that, and I think, yeah, go on, bro.
No, I'm sorry. I was just relating that to what happened in Baltimore when the riots happened a year later over Freddie Gray and the black female mayor. Irony of ironies. She told them to let the city burn. Basically, just let them throw their temper tantrum
That's
because
right.
she understood where they were coming from. What fucking respectable, responsible political official would allow some shit like that? You know.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it
I mean,
does seem like it was a hidden agenda. But I'm sorry, brother. Continue what you were saying.
yeah. So basically, I mean, the police were told to stand down. I mean, these guys just went rioting all over the place, and it spread. It wasn't just London. It was in several major cities. There's London. There was, I think, Bristol, Manchester, Liverpool. I mean, Birmingham. All these different areas in the UK. I mean, where the same thing was happening. I mean, my area, there were a few shops that were looted, but there wasn't any major damage. And then what was
Right.
happening is in certain communities, man, they tried to roll up in certain communities. No, the people weren't having it. Like we got a big Turkish community over here. It's like it's an area called what do you call it? It's called Haringey. It's in North London. And like
Hmm.
a lot of these youths, they tried to roll in and tried because they got a lot of Turkish like restaurants and all that, and they tried to roll up in there. The Turkish people weren't having nothing of it, so they didn't succeed there at all. And then you basically had you have a Sikh community in the west of London. There's an area called Slough. I think it's just outside of London called Slough. And then again, they tried to roll up there, and like these guys were coming out with machetes and basically swords and everything, man, protecting their property. They weren't having any of it. Like the Sikh community, the Hindu community weren't having any of it. So, I mean, the way there were a lot of areas that were like burnt down and destroyed. There were some areas where these guys tried to roll in. You know what I mean? These unruly youth tried to roll in, and they just no can't go in there. Okay, let's move on to somewhere else. But yeah, that was something else, man. You know what I mean? But to be
It just
honest, that yeah, go on, bro.
I was just gonna say that kind of relates to the Koreans when they defended during the Rodney King riots in Koreatown. They got on top of there's like this infamous picture of these Koreans getting on top of the roofs of their businesses in the strip mall with rifles and shotguns. And it's like every other tribe of people know how to defend their own except black people. And in a lot of cases, they call themselves defending their own in black spaces where they shouldn't be in the first fucking place. But why is this situation, why is it like this? It's like this because of this ass backwards mentality that has been enforced and encouraged and influenced by the fueling of and the equipping of what you and a lot of brothers are calling militarized feminism, which
Right,
is really striking the black community more than any other community. Yeah, of course you have white feminists, you have Hispanic feminists, but nowhere else do we see the weaponized, the militarized almost, if you will, um version of feminism than we see in the black community. When you have a 12-year-old girl that is trying to run up on a grown man, doesn't matter whether he's white, black, green, Hispanic, whatever, that's when you know that something is morally and seriously wrong inside of society, inside of
right,
your society. And I told black people before, I said, when these idiots, when they upload these videos on social media, I told them social media has become a window into the world of the dysfunction of the black fucking community. I told them that.
right.
Yeah. And so, all right, guys, we're gonna move to the second segment. There's some brothers that have emailed me. We're here with my special guest, our special guest, Babatunde Umana, who hails from London, England. We're talking the title of the video. We're discussing welfare benefits at risk and white men KTFO'ing, knocking them the fuck out. Have black women painted themselves into a corner? That is the question of the stream. That is the question of the month. I mean, we only fucking a couple of weeks into the new year, and all this crazy shit is happening. So what I'm gonna do
Yep.
now, guys, I'm going to allow some of you guys to come on, join the panel. I'm sending you the link right now. You'll be getting that link if you're still there. And I'm going to replay that video one more time just so I can get the reaction from the other brothers that are coming on. And then we're going to move into, in general, this welfare piece that we've kind of been off and on talking about as well. So let me do this. Okay, Roger Spice is coming on. We got King Sigma, my boy King Sigma coming on. Okay, guys. I sent you the hangouts in your email. And Roger Spicy, I sent you the email. You guys can join ASAP, hopefully. And while we're waiting on them to join, I'm going to pull up that video one more time, turn my screen on, just so I can get a reaction from you brothers as you come on to that. You guys bear with me as I learn how to do this. I'll learn how to go to commercial break in between by shutting the audio off. But for right now, we're gonna. Okay, guys, waiting on you guys to join. Let me see these brothers in the chat yet. Okay, guys. All right, I see King. Is that King Sigma? Hey, brother, are you in?
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Hey, what's up, King Sigma? What's
Hey,
up, bro?
good Sunday
What
to
up?
you and Baba, man.
Hey
Oh
man,
yeah,
what's
man.
going
It
on,
is
King Sigma?
definitely.
Oh, this right here, this is the entree right here, man. I was actually over reading Baba's article on the pick me shaming that's being done by a lot of these American black women. When I checked on YouTube and I saw your video upload of the punching incident, I hadn't known about it at that point, right? And I was thinking, like, man, Baba would be the perfect, because this is what he talks about on Slaying Evil. He really highlights the dysfunction that these women present to the world. And when I saw that you were bringing them on, I was like, oh man, this is the main course right here, man. But what I've been doing is I found this book called The Dred Scott Case. Are you brothers familiar with the Dred Scott case?
I've heard Dred Scott, but I don't
Yeah, I've heard about it.
exactly
I
know
haven't read the
what.
book yet.
Well,
Yeah, I haven't heard.
Dred Scott is one of the most important cases in Black American history, and it was the case where the Supreme Court had decided that Black people in America had no rights by which white supremacists had to respect, and that precedent was set, and it would have made Blacks slaves forever, but it's never truly been overturned. So we've had like the passage of different acts, and we had the 13th, the 14th, and 15th Amendment, but that case itself has not really technically ever been overturned completely. And it's an important case for understanding like where we stand as Black men in America. But the book is kind of interesting, right? So you would think that the most important case to Black history, that book would be on all the shelves. Every Black person would have at least heard most of the case. This book has been out of publication for 30 years, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
damn, man.
So explain to me how the most important case in our history has been out of print for 30. I actually literally had to go to Amazon. I had to pay them $50 for them to print me a personal copy of this book. And I was reading and I could see why they hide stuff like this. I just want to read this little paragraph. It takes me about 30 seconds so you can hear what the Supreme Court justice said at that time. And this all ties into what we're dealing with today, because what it proved to me, like you brothers were talking earlier about the daughters of the trade and how we've been manipulated into believing that these American black women were just raped, when it's clear by their behavior in 2019, when unleashed to do what they want, they are choosing the white men. They are emulating the Eurocentric standards. They're the ones that are placing white men and white women on a pedestal when left to do it freely. So I want the audience to listen to what the Supreme Court justice said. He said, the African race in the United States, even when free, are everywhere a degraded race and class and exercise no political influence. The privileges, not rights, that they are allowed to enjoy here in the States are accorded to them as a matter of kindness and benevolence rather than of right. They are the only class of persons who can be held as mere property as slaves. They were never regarded as a constituent portion of the sovereignty of any state within this union. They were not looked upon as citizens by the contracting parties who founded the Constitution. They were evidently not supposed to be included by the term citizens and were not intended to be embraced in any of the provisions of that Constitution, but those which point to them in terms of not to be mistaken. So I was reading that, and to me, it seems like the same state that we're in today. Like, I don't have any proof that American blacks have the same status as non-black citizens. And then you have a situation where these white liberals, they try to act as if they're working for the benefit of the black population. But if you listen to what the justice said 250 years ago, that actually what they're doing, they are patronizing you, right? They don't see you as equal. They see you as like almost like a charity case. And so black men understand this for the most part. Thinking black men understand this. But what has happened, the American black woman since the late 60s, after the death of MLK and all those, she has joined up in lockstep with the white liberal man and the white liberal woman. And she has spent the last, 4 decades or so really trying to get the approval of these groups. And now she is just now starting to realize that who you thought was your friend was actually using you as a weapon against the long-term goals of your ethnic group here in America the whole time. That's why that white man decked her the way he did. He didn't see her as an equal. Let's flip that whole decking, right? Okay, so we know that running back Kareem Hunt, he lost millions of dollars in a self-defense moment when he just shoved a white woman on camera defending himself. She was there to get a train ran on her from basically what I read. She was there to get fucked by the whole team. She wasn't down with it. And he was like, it's no fun if the homies can't have none. And she got all angry. You know what I'm saying? And he lost millions defending. He was just defending himself. Now, fast forward to yesterday, the old white guy, he hits the old girl with the hook, and she fell like a sack of potatoes, man. And if that would have been a black man and a white girl, do you understand what would be on the news right now?
Right.
Exactly. It would be a whole different reaction. But I'm already reading about how black men are to blame. This is what we're dealing with: free black men in America in 2019. We're dealing
let me ask you.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. Let me ask you. Have any? Because I already know this is gonna go viral. I've shared it with David Carroll, LaQuazy. I know Paris Milan, Cynthia G at the very least gonna have something to say about it. The girl who swirls, Crystalline Carrison gonna have something to say about it. Have you heard any chatter amongst the usual suspects of YouTube feminists? I know you said you already seeing they trying to blame black men. Is it on Lipstick Alley or where?
No,
where
on Twitter. It was on Twitter. Tariq Nasheed.
Yeah, Tariq Nasheed. Yeah.
Professor Black and I think Jason Black had posted some stuff on Twitter, and I was just kind of reading the different comments on their feed. So if you guys want to see some of the comments from these people, then go on the Twitter feeds of Professor Black Truth, the Black Channel, and Tariq, and you will see the bed wenches coming out with their knives on there. That's where I saw it. I haven't seen it on YouTube yet because, like I said, I was just reading Baba's article on the Pick Me scandals or whatever. And then I got your video upload. So I didn't even know about the decking until I saw your video. And it just, it crushed me in my soul, because I know in a world where the American black redneck woman was not out there working against the best interest of the black family, which is the interest of the community. You can't have a black community without the black man that is competent, that is credentialed, that is qualified. So you're working against your own interest of a quote unquote black community. That's why I say there is no black community. That's all a myth at this point. So when I saw that decking, it hurt me, man. I mean, I know a lot of brothers was like making jokes about it, and I understand, but for me, it's not a laughing matter because this is serious. The state of the black Americans right now. This is serious because every time one of those videos like that goes viral, and this is what people don't understand, your image is being broadcasted within a milliseconds to the whole billions of people around the planet, man.
Right. But you know, and I can understand where you're coming from, brother. You know, I know you're sincere. And I understand, you know, why you feel the way you feel. But it's like Babatunde was saying earlier, these females, they don't they not only do they not understand, they just don't care. They don't care, you know, that this is causing, you know, the plight of the black community. They don't care that, you know, that this is gonna, it's not just gonna blow up in our face, it's gonna blow up in their face and make all of us look bad and cause all of us to devolve. You know, a lot of brothers are calling black women the agents of chaos, you know, and I know there's a lot of white heifers that have similar feminist mindsets, but this weaponized feminism that we see in black society today, it proves that these females, no matter what the origins, no matter how this was started, okay, at the end of the day, everybody has brains, including that 12-year-old little girl that ran up on that man and pushed him before she did that. Everybody has a brain and know the difference between right and wrong, okay? You know, they make choices that are counterproductive, that are, it's almost like anti-survival mode.
Absolutely.
You know how we talk about survival mode? It's like anti-survival mode. Like they want to destroy that. It's like the Titanic. Y'all remember when the Titanic hit the fucking iceberg, right?
Yeah.
And it started going down. But what a lot of people don't know about the Titanic is while the ship was sinking, there were brave men. None of them survived. The crew, they were actually down there manually working pumps because the electricity went out. They were manually working pumps to pump water out. That bought the ship and people on it more time to get off of the fucking ship, 3.5 hours. Otherwise, it would have sunk in an hour or less. Black women, if they were the modern day black female, if they were down there in the hull of that ship, man, the fucking ship would have sunk in 15 minutes because they would have been trying to make the fucking hole bigger. That's what Babatunde was talking about. That's what I've been talking about. That's what David Carroll talks about. That's why so many brothers, when they see this, you got to understand, brother, it's not like, and I think this is even true with Babatunde. It's not like we don't have a heart. It's just that we, you know, when we see a young black child knocked the fuck out, it's just that we understand now what we're dealing with, and we understand that there's really, it's like a crazy brother Logic and Common Sense, he made that video a few years back, no hope, no change for the Negro. There's no hope, no change for these females, and because they've been put in charge of the household and black families and black males, there's no hope, no change for a majority of these Negroes. So
well, I didn't mean to no. I think you guys might be misunderstanding me. When I said that I don't consider it a laughing matter, you guys are actually 100% correct. What I'm saying is that these American black women have created apathy in the male population, that if those men were being pedestalized, if those men were being given the respect and the proper position within the community, quote unquote, then these things wouldn't be happening. That's where my pain comes from. My pain is not from the reaction from the brothers. Every black man has the right to react with the percentage of disdain that he feels is appropriate for the situation. So what it's showing is that these women, in their traitorous actions and their treasonous behavior, have caused the men that would be there. These men have lost all love for you holders, is what I'm saying. That these men have lost all love for you, all respect for you. They don't even want anything to do with you. And here's the irony. Where the hell are the white liberals? Where are the Hotep socialists? Where are the warrior class or the convict Carls at today? You guys spend all this time talking about your queens, black love, the black community. But every time that the black communities that you claim to have authority over and jurisdiction over, when someone is gunned down, someone is beaten or attacked, where's your armies at? All you dudes do is got Twitter fingers. You talk about this American state that you want to build. You talk about how you're going to do this and do that. But whenever something goes bad, you're nowhere to be seen. That's who I was referring to. The apathy that these people have put in the free-thinking black men who in any other community would be lifted up to the highest status. That's all right.
It's sad.
Yeah,
no,
I hear that. I hear that.
It is so true.
Oh, hey, Crusher. Is that you, brother? With the voice, Crusher?
Yes, sir. This is Raj, but I had to use this email account because the other one got they keep messing with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So before I bring you on to share your views, I just want to play that video one more time for the audience and everybody on the panel, and then brother Crusher, I want to get your reaction to it, and then we're gonna just kind of delve into it from there. Because one thing I noticed, and I talked about this with David Carroll over email. This stuff, I don't know if anybody else noticed this. This shit with white men, either killing or abusing, verbally abusing or assaulting, or even, defending themselves in a harsh manner against black females is increasing. I mean, it's really getting big. And now on top of that, we have this looming welfare crisis. This shit that, like they say, niggas say, shit is getting real. Shit getting real. So I'm gonna turn this up, and we're gonna play this one more time for the viewing audience. If you guys can see okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna play this one more time, and then Crusher, I want to get your reaction, and we're gonna I'm gonna let you guys talk it up. I need to go use the bathroom right quick, but I'm gonna let you guys talk it up, and I just want to get your reaction first. So, all right, here we go. Once. That is, I will say, in a sense, that is, it's sad, but not for the reason that people think. But it's sad to see, and I say that because these youth nowadays, they have no sense of direction. And me and Babatunde were talking about this earlier, and I said that you have to understand how fucked up the mentality of the black female collective and black youth are, from the way they're being misraised by these career baby mama thoughts. For a 12-year-old little girl, to shove a grown man, no matter what color he is, and then run up on him after he shoves her back, as if she can do anything to him besides give him a paper cut. So, Crusher, I want to get your reaction to that. What was your reaction when you first saw that shit, man?
Hey, the chickens are coming home to roost. And this is going to be, this is their future. At some point, they're going to push us all out the neighborhood. They're going to push us all away, and they're going to be standing there with the white male and a white female, and they're going to both start coming after them at the same time, and we're going to be far away.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's already happening.
And Rollo and Slimfoot and all.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Rollo and Slimfoot and all them are going to be doing the same thing, trying to get us to do their work. They stand by and tell us what to do. They tell us to protect the queen while they stand somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true, man.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for this beautiful panel. All these
Oh
grapes
yeah.
up here.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
Um,
man.
man.
You know I had to put it together. I had to put it together, man, because I originally, as I said, the original idea was, after a week of this whole talk about, the R. Kelly thing, and then the Trump shutdown. At first, people wasn't worried about it. They was like, oh, it's just a political stunt. Then it started affecting federal employees' paychecks, and then they started talking about it affecting welfare benefits, and then that hit social media. Originally I was just gonna make this about, are these black baby mama thoughts, what are they gonna do if, when this ripple effect comes? Because a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of brothers have alluded to this, the welfare system doesn't have to be shut all the way down for these females to get fucked. There's a thing called a ripple effect. For example, if you get like suspended at work or laid off for 2 weeks, okay, that will cause a ripple effect in your ability to pay your bills, to pay your rent, or pay your mortgage, to buy food. That just try, if you live paycheck to paycheck, that ripple effect could affect you for many months, you know 3 4 months. I remember one time I had a situation like that where I was off work for a significant amount of time with no pay. It took me close to 6 months just to get, catch back up on all of my fucking bills and everything. So if this goes on past February, because the Trump administration is saying that they can guarantee SNAP, TANF, and WIC and Section 8 benefits through February. But what they're not saying is what's going to happen after February. There's going to be a ripple effect that could screw these females over for several months to come, and only God knows what's going to happen after that. You know, I told people in my video I made about this last night that this is I don't believe this is the main course meal. I believe that this is a test run. I think we're in test run mode. And just like they did, I believe somebody helped me in 2015, benefits were affected, right? And it was, and the benefits were shut off for like, the food stamps were shut off for a week and a half, and you had black females on Facebook tripping heavy, including some in my own family. And now here we go with test run number two. But I told them at the end of that video, okay, there's gonna be a run. Guarantee it, mark my words, in the next 10 years, there's going to be a run, and do not be surprised if there's a Democratic president in office. There's going to be a run, and it ain't going to be no test. And
Mm.
when it happens, these females are going down in flames, just like that plane I was talking about. you know.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what? Yeah, let me ask just going down the panel, starting with you, Crusher. What do you think about this whole Trump shutdown thing, just overall, his want for a border wall, the fight with the Democrats, and how do you think this really is going to hit these black skanks that I don't have anything against black females that actually are in need, but these arrogant black cunts that have basically ran the black man out of the household, and are basically thumbing their noses at us and rubbing it in our faces. What do you think about that overall situation? And then I'll just move down the panel.
I've been waiting for him to do that for the longest, and he never did. If he does it, I'll be glad. And but I'll wait and see. I want to see what happens after February. If that happens, I also hope he closes down the child support offices, the driver license, and all those different bureaus, because a lot of black men are slavery to the women through those different divisions, and without workers, they can't enforce it. So he'll get a lot of black votes and stuff. We won't be Democrats next time around.
Right. hmm Now, King, okay, King Sigma,
Mhm.
what do you think about this overall situation? Is Trump right? Are the Democrats right? And no matter who's right, how badly is this going to hit um the Black American thought bot, and what are going to be the residual effects? What's going to be the backlash, and is it going to affect black men as well? How are black females going to react to this? What do you think?
Well, I think it's going to affect those black males that are dependent on the government, or who are living vicariously through Big Mama's house, depending on that Section 8 and that EBT. But I think free thinking black man is almost irrelevant unless you are working a job where you're directly contracting with the federal government or you are receiving funds. But at the same time, the kind of men that will be working in those positions can easily get a job in the private sector. What we have to understand is that the American federal government is bloated. It has damn near a $23 trillion deficit. So I think I agree with you, Brian. I was listening to you talk about that, how you think that it's a test run. I actually 100% agree with you. I think what Trump is doing and the Republicans are doing, and even some Democrats, they want to see how chaotic this situation is when they pull back on some of this government funding. Because remember, like I've heard people make the argument that, oh, the TSA workers don't have a job. You people are fucking idiots out here, man. Don't you realize that you taxpayers are paying, you're actually giving a welfare handout to the airlines. You have like 15, 20 major airlines flying out of these airports. And if the federal government removed the taxpayer TSA agents, they would just be forced themselves to pay for it. So why should the American taxpayer be paying for the security force for 20 of the richest companies in the world? See, that's what I'm saying. I hear people talk, but they never peel back even one layer deep. If it comes on CNN, if it comes on Fox News or MSNBC as a soundbite, they're just going to repeat the soundbite. So there's many layers of federal government behavior and activities that they've been involved in for the last 30 years or so that could actually be put back in the private sphere where it should be at. Look at all the corporate welfare going to corporations that shouldn't be getting any handouts. Look at all this incentives to have multiple kids by men of no means or no value. All the federal government is bloated as hell. It's like a big fat person that's 400 pounds on diabetes. They got cancer. and the only thing you can do is go straight cold turkey. So I do think it's a controlled demolition simulation to see what the reactions will be. And I think that, I mean, so far, I think they have some funding, but it ain't going to be as bad as people think. Yes, a lot of people are going to suffer, but I think that in the short term, it will be good for the long term. Black Americans have to wean themselves off of this dependency on the same structure that they claim oppresses them. It's madness. You're in love with the same system and the same controllers that you say oppress you and that are, I mean, it's just, these people are crazy. And so I think this would be a good thing. And maybe some of these hoteps that have been on here doing their little digital conning to shake down people saying that they're going to do this and that, maybe some more of them will get exposed too, because they're dependent on these same government that they claim that they're trying to uplift, quote unquote, the people against.
Yeah. Somebody said in the chat, they said, oh shit, I just lost it. They said something about something is wrong with this panel. It's too many smart thinking brothers on it.
We're the most hated people. We're the most hated people in Black America. But I'm starting to notice as I go on panels with some of the Hotep socialists, they're running out of arguments, man. I'm seeing it I'm noticing that when I talk to a lot of the Hotep socialists now versus where it was when I first came in last year, they're really starting to realize that they can't win this argument against the free thinking.
Right. What can they say? I mean, their women are sleeping with what they consider to be the enemy. A lot of them, a lot of those Hotep guys, they have criminal records with felonies. I know a lot of those Black Israelites do. They can't get a job with white daddy. There's no Black businesses to be able to employ them. The neighborhoods, that they preach their propaganda in are practically run down, patrolled by trigger happy, primarily white police. I mean, what can they say? What argument can they make? What logical argument can they make against reality?
Well,
Not
Brian,
even against us, against reality.
Brian, I call that dude Julian Castro. My nickname for him is Tamale Obama. And that dude right there, he represents the end of the American Black redneck in America, man. Because if he's elected, the issues that are the biggest social problems for American Blacks that are facing this country, it's over. Because the Latinos and those that consider themselves Hispanic represent like 17% of the population on paper. Now we know damn well that they probably more like 25% of the population for all we know. And you know, if he became president, he's another clone of Obama. He's pro all the social justice warrior points. But here's the thing: them Latinos stick together.
Right.
He will get all the votes from them, and he will.
Oh yeah, they ain't like black people.
He will open those borders up so quickly, and he will show you, because it's been clear, if you listen to anything coming from the economists that are fair, they will tell you the biggest threat to American blacks is low-level, not unskilled, illegal immigration. Because there was an example in Chicago. Brian, you're from Chicago. I can't think of the company, but there was a company in Chicago recently who got caught up in some illegal immigration stuff with Trump and them, and they had to get rid of like 500 illegal alien workers because they got deported, right? And the jobs paid like $14 to $16 per hour. Guess what? The only available low-skilled or unskilled workers was American black men outside Chicago. Unemployed, homeless. They threw their ass up in that factory, and they got them working. So, so it's a lot of little things going on in the background that we black men got to pay attention to. But if Tamale Obama is elected, y'all Hotep socialist con artists, the jig is up. So Trump, what he's doing, this is just the beginning. Because like you said, even if it's a Democrat, they're going to be forced to cut back on a lot of stuff because that's just the reality of where we're at right now.
Right, exactly. Yep.
I mean, with a country that's $20 trillion fucking dollars in debt, you know, all of these people, including these white people that are strung out on welfare, everybody needs to be asking themselves the fundamental question, motherfucker, how long do you think this government can hold you up by your fucking bootstraps and have this fail safe for you to lay, you know, to basically lay up and just basically receive free living care? How long do you think that's gonna be able to go on? It's only a matter of time before that plane falls out of the sky. I mean, it's been going on big time. Well, Lyndon Baines Johnson, he basically modified Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal in, I forget what year that was. I think it was 1965, and it really took off in the mid to late 70s. So it's been going on, you know, if you want to talk about the origins, 65, 75, 85, 95, 2005, 2015, about 50 years. And, you know, another thing I try to explain to black people is, I said that in the video you said you listened to as well, that, you know, and my dad has this thing where he says, black, you know, when white America catches a cold, black people catch pneumonia. And what a lot of black people don't understand is this welfare thing, it was never intended for us. Okay. The welfare system was intended to help white people get up from being down on their luck. Starting with Franklin Roosevelt's, you know, New Deal, you know, the Great Depression, you know, a lot of people out of work. He started those public assistance programs, and Lyndon Baines Johnson, he basically modified them. And that was intended for white folks, because when you look at the history of black people during Jim Crow, you know, anytime after post-slavery, you know, the Roaring 20s, you know, anytime that white folks classify as the good old days, it wasn't the good old days for us. I'm talking about before the welfare public assistance programs at the federal and state levels really started to take effect. Okay, we were living in log cabins. We were sharecroppers. It wasn't until like the late 1930s that a lot of black people started to migrate up north and out west, you know, in places like California, to get jobs at like plants and stuff like that. You know, and we saw what happened with that over time. A lot of those companies, they left, and those neighborhoods like South Los Angeles that was once bustling, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, basically turned to shit, you know. But again, those welfare programs were never intended for us. That was intended for white folks. So when the shit hits the fan and white folks catch a cold, you know, a majority of them are still gonna have somebody, you know, in their family or something to run to. A lot of these black females, because they're basically propped up on this welfare system with no support from any family members that have jobs. You know, they come from generations of matriarchal led households that are, you know, solely dependent on welfare. You know, the grandmama is on Social Security, you know, the mama is on, you know, Section 8, the daughter's on Section 8, You know, what is going to happen when this whole thing falls like a stack of cards? I mean, if it's a game of musical chairs, they're going to be left without a fucking chair because it was never intended for them in the first place. They have no fail safe. They have nothing to back them up. They're going to be fucked. You know?
Yeah, I hear that, man.
Well, I heard people talking about. I heard people in the chat talking about when you were speaking. They were talking about white women are the most that get food stamps. All these things that we already know. It's not about the fact that white women as a whole receive more food stamps and government aid or whatnot, because two reasons at least. One, black people are overrepresented on the EBT rolls, which is not good. And two, like I just mentioned earlier, and this person wasn't listening, the private sector will step in to support those white women and their children. Because remember, these are the same kind of women that, even though they're on welfare, and even though those white redneck men are on welfare, they still will vote against their interests, because what you may think applies to you because you're on equal footing on paper may not really be the case, because those white redneck men, they will put them back to work if the government will force those white men back to work if necessary. Those white women will receive aid from the charitable organizations, the churches, and other private sector interests that operate totally in the shadows outside of the public eye. So this thought that, well, white women, no. They already got a backup plan for that. Trust me on that one.
Exactly. And you know, I can prove what you just said, brother. I can prove it because it's in history. It's called the Prohibition motherfucking era. The Prohibition era. What was the Prohibition era about? I just talked about it last night in my video. Okay. The Prohibition era primarily was about white men that were shamed because they couldn't find work, or, you know, they were just down on their luck. They were frustrated because they couldn't support their wife and children, walking the fuck off, telling their wives, I'm going to look for work, and never coming back home. Okay. The white powers that be they didn't owe these poor, destitute or blue collar white men nothing. But because of the way white people think as a collective, unlike black people, they saw this as a bad look. I'm talking about the rich white folks like the J.P. Morgans, the Rockefellers, okay? They saw this as a bad look on the white race as a collective. So they got together with Congress and they proposed legislation. They said, now we can't legally make these motherfuckers go their ass back and be with their women, you know, because they thinking it's better for a white man to be poor, you know, and destitute with his wife and children than it is for a white woman and her children to be destitute by themselves, because that's a bad fucking look. So even men, you know, living in their 5-star hotels and their mansions, they saying, no, we ain't gonna allow this shit. So they got together with Congress and they passed these fucking laws to ban alcohol, because they said there must be something. These are white men. White men don't walk off and leave they wife and kids like that, even though that's exactly what was happening. There has to be some type of reason for this. So they moved to punish white men by banning their ability to drink any type of liquor or alcohol, and said, until y'all act right, till y'all get y'all monkey ass back over there and take care of your wife and kids, you can't drink beer no more, motherfucker. That's right. That's right. We chastising your motherfucking ass. But see, that's the way white and other people think that how black people don't think, and that's the ass backwards mentality that's going to have us fucked up in the end if something doesn't significantly change. You're absolutely right, brother.
Have you studied the infrastructure problems of America that we have right now?
I mean, yeah, but in what retrospect?
Well, what I'm saying is that, you know, since the New Deal back in I believe it was the 30s, that was the last time that the United States did like a nationwide infrastructure projects. And what people aren't paying attention to is that we have a crumbling infrastructure in America. What that means is very high paying blue collar job potential. With this wall, you have, just like what you were saying, they will make the poor white men of America and the poor black men of America go back to work by having them rebuild the wall, the infrastructure, while deporting millions and millions of illegals. Like I was just saying to one of the brothers in the chat, you know, you got to think about this. The white people, if you look at it from an electoral college position, they are perfectly fine with what Donald Trump is doing. If he builds that wall if he passes legislations to get like the infrastructure of America built, and he puts all those poor white rednecks and those poor unemployed black men to work on it while getting rid of these illegal immigrants, I will promise you, brothers, they will build a statue of Donald Trump in Washington, D.C., and they will actually build it on top of the George Washington Monument. You guys better wake the hell up, man. You better wake up, man. You listening to these liberals in the media who betray you at every time and don't understand that these white liberals that you think are your friends are going to betray you. They're going to leave you stranded, and you're going to be looking dumb because they don't need you anymore if they get what they want. If they get that Latino man in there, or they get Elizabeth, the $5 Indian in there, the only issue they will be dealing with for the next decade will be A through Z sexuality, radical feminist issues, single mother issues, and the issues relating to Latino people. That's it. You black Americans and your problems is done. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Let me ask one more question, and then what I'm gonna do, guys, because I know you brothers, probably busy, got other things to do. I just want to have you guys hone in on this whole R. Kelly thing. But before we do that, I just want to ask damn, I lost my fucking train of thought. I want to ask Babatunde a question, but now I forgot it. So fuck it. It'll come back to me. But yeah, guys, I want to just go down the panel right quick because this was something that was talked about earlier in the week. This whole selective outrage thing with black women in this Lifetime documentary that came out. Since I got all you brothers on the panel, and I made a stream about this earlier in the week, acting so outraged over R. Kelly, but as David Carroll said in his last video, they won't touch the issue with the black pastor that has been, the historical snitch, pimp, sexual deviant. They won't touch the black male degenerate. They won't touch these pedophiles that are in their families. Because there was this biracial girl. She did an Instagram video that actually went viral a couple of years ago where she confronted her uncle that was at this family reunion sitting down amongst family members, and she was called herself putting him on blast. She was a hood chick, but she was describing the things he did to him while standing right next to him and pointing the camera at his face. And that video went viral. And really what it exposed was that black people, especially black women, okay, they have allowed, and it's not just in the black community, because we see this in the white community as well. The Jerry Sandusky case, the Larry Nassar case, my God, the Catholic priest case. That's a subject for another stream altogether. We could do 5 streams on that shit. But they know who these motherfuckers are, but now everybody wants to get outraged over R. Kelly, even though we know what this motherfucker's been about for the last 25 years. He married Aaliyah at 15 years old. Why the Cook County District Attorney's Office of Chicago did not issue an arrest warrant for that motherfucker after her parents went and had that marriage annulled in Detroit, because there was paper evidence that he falsified documentation about her age to marry her, and went on to marry her at age 15. Why he wasn't charged and arrested back then is beyond me. How he was acquitted after that sex tape of him having sex with that 13-year-old girl and peeing in her mouth, that's beyond me. And even after the white man's justice system failed to put justice on his head, how the hell was he able to go back to the black community and continue to sell records, to have people buy tickets to his concerts, to fucking nominate him for an NAACP Image Award, to have him interviewed on 106 in Park and all these other bullshit ass black shows? I mean, how is this allowed to happen? So I want to get you guys' reaction. First starting with if you're still on, let me see who's on. Let me start with you, Babatunde. What was your reaction to this whole R. Kelly thing?
Man, I just see, again, it's what King Sigma is. It's what you and King Sigma said before. Knowing black female nature, it's like, how can we be upset? I mean, how can we believe that these black women are upset? You know what I mean? Again, we go back to slavery. We basically know that mostly a large portion of these sexual encounters black women had with white men were consensual. You know what I mean? And like, basically, we look at the same, and it's the same pattern today. You know what I mean? How they just throw themselves at white men. You know what I mean? I've got 5 series article how black women worship and interact with Whitey, their god. I've got 5 parts that's basically showing black women being just denigrated and being degraded by white men, and they're still throwing themselves at them for sex. You know what I mean? So what do you call it? At the end of the day, when it comes to R. Kelly now, they love this guy. Apparently, I heard during the concert that these same black women, this concert that just sold out or something, apparently I heard these same black women were talking about, yeah, please enslave me. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
yeah, at the end of the day, man, yeah, they were saying, please enslave me. You know what I mean? Take me hostage. I mean, so yeah, it's all rubbish, man. It's all nonsense. So at the end of the day, they love R. Kelly. They're just making a whole load of hoo-ha over nothing. Again, they see another chance to play the victim. But again, we have to look at their behavior. We have to look at, again, who do they typically go for? Again, they go for 12 Pump Mike. They go for Crenshaw. They go for J Boogie. They go for Little Cheesy. They go for, what do you call it, Slim Jim. You know what I mean? Those are the type of guys they go for. You know what I mean? That's who they like. So at the end of the day, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I mean, Lil Mike. You know what I mean? What do you call it? So yeah, man. So at the end of the day, they're just making a load of noise overnight, and I just like, and it's like, what if it was that serious? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, why didn't these women come forward and say, you know what, and like basically put a case against this guy? None of them came forward because they loved it, they enjoy it. Again, this black woman is a sexual deviant, man. You know what I mean? She's depraved sexually, man. So when they start talking about victimhood in relation to allegations of sexual assault, I mean, rape and all this business, I have to basically take that with a pinch of salt. Nah, they love R. Kelly, man. You know what I mean? They think he's great.
Yep. Okay. King Sigma. Let me get your reaction on that right quick. The whole R. Kelly piece.
Okay, yeah, I agree with Baba on that one. They absolutely love R. Kelly. His biggest supporters have been American black women, and also those high ups in the industry who don't care if he molests children or not. But there's also a more deeper level to this as well, because I think there's a psyops going on where ever since that quote unquote Me Too movement started, there's been an attempt to take a small percentage of the black male population and paint them as the face of a movement that's mostly led by white men. For example, when you go to the FBI's website, the FBI has this big, they have this program called Innocent Images, right? And Innocent Images is a task force that's, they have the sanction over finding pedophiles, child molesters, and, you know, that are stalking and predatory behavior against these young women and young boys. So of all the arrests that they've done, almost 90% of them have been upper middle class, educated white men who are between the ages of 25 and 45. And what was very fascinating to me is that these men are usually like, you know, doctors, lawyers, principal, CEOs of companies. And these are the type of white men that if they approach these American black women that worship them, oh, they jumping on board. But even though we know that the depraved behavior and deviant behavior of these white men knows no bounds, and it's been going on forever. So the FBI knows it, law enforcement knows it, but for some reason, these American black women that stay promoting these men, they want to ignore it. They know it because when they get behind closed doors and they're doing their ghetto gag cosplay or whatnot, they know it then. That's why, have you ever noticed that when they send these degraded ghetto gaggers back to you, how they have this certain look in their eye? Like when because I've been seeing a lot of footage lately of these, you know, rejected gaggers talking about, you know, this white man did this to me. I don't think you should do what I did and date the white man. But they have this defeated and broken look in their eyes, and you can see and imagine the kind of deviant things that these white men did to them. Because think about it for a minute. How can you as a black woman feel safe around, like, let's say a group of white men, you're at a dinner and you having wine and you drinking and things like that, and then that demon comes out of these white men, and it's like 10 of them, let's say that they're lawyers, cops, judges. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call?
Right.
The whole
Ghostbusters.
The most powerful.
You know, you're going to call Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you going to call the Black Magic Patrol? There ain't no one you can call. You fucked.
Yep.
You fucked and you about to get fucked. So what happens? These white men pass these deviant women around, and they just degrade them to such a point that even in all their hatred towards the American black man, they come back to them. We love you, black man. Come and save us. But now that group of black men that would most likely have been a buffer and been trying to work against these groups, they don't care anymore. The free thinking black man is gone. And I'm going to say it again. If the black redneck America is going to be saved, it is going to be under responsibility of the white liberals, the Hotep socialists, the convict Carls, and the Black Lesbians Matter. And I'm speaking to all y'all right now because I know you're listening. It's on you. These people are looking to you to provide. Don't look over here at the free thinking black man. Don't talk about us no more. Ignore us. Act as if we don't even exist anymore. You begin building where you are. It's your responsibility now. We don't want no parts of this Americanda. No parts of it.
Yep. Okay, and
straight talk there.
Yeah. Now, did you want to add to that, Babatunde, or?
Nah, I basically just agree, man. At the end of the day, you know what I mean, it's like and again, it's like they've pushed the thinking black man out of the community. He's been pushed out, and now now everything's falling apart. Now you want him to come back in and help. No. Oh, so you don't really like me. You just want my help. That's all. I mean, it's the same thing with these black women. How basically, you know what I mean, when they get 2 children or more deep, that's when that's when the light bulb goes off in the head and they realize, you know what, maybe this little pump, he's not all that, you know what I mean? Maybe I should go for someone like Trey or Simon or something like that, you know what I mean? So that's when they realize, you know what, I need to go for the good black man. But the good black man he's left because you rejected him before. You said you weren't interested. And like I come across a video of yet another video of black women confessing their love for fug penis. So again, it's just another indication. Here you go. See, we have to when you see these videos with these black women saying we love fug penis, right? You have to respect them. You have to say, okay, you like the fug, no problem. I'm going to respect your opinion. I'm going to respect your position, and I'm going to walk away from you. Now, when it all goes south, when they get with the fug, I mean, he beats them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times upside the head, you know what I mean? And puts them down in the concrete. Right. And then basically they try to come back to you. They now have to respect your position where you say, I'm not interested in you. I'm not taking you because you are now leftovers. You should have chosen right from the beginning.
Amen. That's right. I mean, you can't, it's a classic case of, I forget that stupid little tale. It was like a folk tale it was like a rabbit or some shit in the woods, and he was making bread, and none of the other fucking animals wanted to help the motherfucker make the bread. But then all of it, they was just going around fucking off. But then when the bread was all nice, warm, toasty smell, lighting up the scent trail in the forest, then come all them niggas back asking to get a piece. I'm like, motherfucker, what? You didn't help me make this shit? Get the fuck up out of here. I forget the name of that tale, but anyway, Crusher, I wanted to get your final reaction on this whole R. Kelly piece before we get off of here. What's your reaction to this selective outrage, man?
All this is liberal propaganda. All you need is to make an idea and to tell a black woman, we're going to put you out there as a victim. Now they got little girls on the commercial stuff talking about we're not protected and trying to hit the heart of America. Black women are bullies. All you got to do is give them an idea and they'll run with it. This R. Kelly special was on. This R. Kelly special was on a few years ago. It didn't do anything. They tried to raise people up against him. It didn't work. Now they put it back on again, and they keep on leaving out one part where they have a girl where they went to a hotel room, knocked the door down, went in there. And she told him, "I'm not going with my mother. I don't want to live with her." And and she said she was fine with him. They cut it out the second version. They had it in the first one.
Wow.
All this is fake, and the feminists have a big problem with black men being able to be 40 and things like Mayweather come back and make $100 million for a fight and things like that. And
Mm.
somebody from the WNBA was complaining because they have to retire at a certain age, and even Mr. Serena had to. She's gonna have to get out the he or whatever it is gonna have to get out of the arenas pretty soon.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they this is their way to protest to make black men that love younger women to make them some kind of scapegoat, and they trying to force that idea upon America.
Right. Yeah, man. Okay, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming to this live stream. The title: Welfare Benefits at Risk, and White Men KTFO'ing, knocking them the fuck out. Have black women painted themselves into a corner? Have black
Yes.
women painted them right? Rhetorical question. Rhetorical question, as we know. But thank everybody for coming out. Now I'm gonna give you brothers the last word on this. Last word. Check this out. Everybody in the chat room, pay attention. Everybody on the panel, pay attention. Guys on the panel, I just have one final question for all of you before we get the fuck off here. Since we are on the subject of black women painting themselves into a corner, if you were left on this planet with the last existence of black women, like there was only a handful of them left, and you getting ready to get on a spaceship and beam the fuck up out of here to Mars or some other greener planet, what advice would you give these hoes? What's the last bit of advice you would give them? Starting with you, Crusher. We're gonna go backwards to forwards. What's the last advice you would give them hoes?
I would tell them to treat people human, which is impossible for them. And then I would stop at that because talking to them is like talking to a wood jar or something. They won't hear you. They need to
Yeah.
have a position. They need to have a position over you where they can boss you. They're not going to listen to anything you have to say.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. King Sigma, what's the last? If you about to beam the fuck up out of here and leave these hoes in the mess that they made, what is the last advice? You just decide, you know what? I don't like you hoes, but I'm gonna give you one last bit of advice, and you might survive. You
Okay.
might live to see tomorrow. What's the last bit of advice you get these hoes?
For me, the first thing I would tell the American black women that are curious about what they can do to try to turn the ship around for the next generation, because I think the millennial generation, Generation X, they're long gone. If you want to fix the situation for the Zennials that are going to be coming up soon, I would say the first thing you got to do right now, not tomorrow, not next week, you have to reject Eurocentric beauty standards yourself. You, as the American black women today, must start to promote the Afrocentric beauty standards that you have to end the weave wearing, you have to end the clown makeup. That's the facial part. The second thing I would say, you have to return to your high point of the black females banging body. And what I mean is, if you go back and look at rap videos of like Two Live Crew and guys like that back in the early 90s, mid 90s or whatever, the black women in those videos had natural, wonderful, classic, beauty, curvy Coca-Cola bodies. They didn't have no plastic surgery. They wasn't putting cement in their ass and risking death. They weren't doing any of that. Then once you figure that part out, the beauty part, you need to move on to the feminine. You need to find out what femininity was and what it is and how it will redeem you in the eyes of men. So that's the next thing you need to do. And you need to make sure that instead of putting all your money in your fingernails and on your toes, you need to keep a gym membership, which is now 80% off if you go like 10 to 12 times per month. That should be your best friend. The weight scale should be your best friend. A dietitian should be your best friend. And then the education that you think you have, you need to go back and reconsider. Did you get an education or did you get a social justice warrior programming? Because to me, education means that you can solve the problems of your existence. You American black women are receiving all of the degrees for the most part, and you're wasting it. And now it may be too late for you, because once they overturn affirmative action next year at the Supreme Court, that may be gone too. So I think if they can begin to do those things, they can begin to fix the situation for the Zennials, because I think for the millennial women in my generation, for most of them, it's just a wrap. They're so engineered at this point that it's really no saving like 80% of them, right? And the Generation X women, they've expired anyways. That's why they're here on the internet, sitting up, lonely, talking about they got husbands, they got boyfriends, they got a man. But for some reason, no man that I've ever spoken to in the Black manosphere that's been married or been in long-term relationships has ever said to me, man, I would sure love for my woman to be up at 3 a.m. every day talking to strange men. So that group of women has expired and they're washed. So that's my advice to these American Black women to fix this.
Man, I say Black women will be lucky to have you in the final death throes, cause boy, you gave them enough to take down notes. A lot of red pill niggas would have just, the only thing a black bitch would have heard from them was starting that engine, starting that spaceship engine up,
Well,
and blowing smoke through the exhaust pipe.
well, Brian, I call you, Kid Organic, Baba, David Carroll, and Obsidian. I call y'all the 5 horsemen of Black female fuckery. So I don't even really consider y'all red pill. I think especially more so with you, more so than Obsidian, but you and Kid Organic, I would even consider you guys to be more like really leaning heavily. You said that you're Black pill kind of guy.
Yeah,
so
I don't give a fuck.
I still have a little bit of hope, because I get attacked from other brothers when I say that 20% of Black American women can still, are worth it. These dudes be like, man, they be telling me in their areas, they be like, man, you got it so wrong, King. You way off. It's more like 5%. I'm like, oh man, like that is sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And finally, our special guest, Babatunde Umana, who I would like to thank. I'd like to thank all the brothers on the panel, but Babatunde, your last words to these hoes. I think you harder in the paint even than me when it comes to these females. So, what would be your last words to the black female in the black ratchet female in general? If you was about to beam the fuck up out of here like Scotty, what would, and you left their ass in the shit that they created? What would be your last words to them?
I
Your
just
last
basically told them, yeah, I just told them recompense is a dish best served cold. A cup of judgment has been poured out for you, and I hope you enjoy it. Enjoy your beverage, mate. I mean, I honestly don't really have much to say to them, man. It's like they've just shown themselves to be just so stubborn and just so hard headed. You know what I mean? And it's like with me now, what's happened with me is like basically I stopped dealing with Black women 13 years ago, just over 13 years ago. And where I've been writing article after article after article, and I've been basically looking at this evidence again and again and again and again. It's self-cleansing, man. It's actually, I mean, that's actually self-cleansing. It's cleaning me up to the point where, you know what? How can I even now stand there and say, well, I mean, let me basically, I mean, I already know the score. I'm writing the articles on these Black witches. I mean, I already know the score with them. So I know what it's going to be. Shut up, nigga, blah, blah. So I'm okay, so all right. So you know what? I mean, here's your cup of judgment. Hope you like it. I mean, at the end of the day. So I personally don't have anything to say to them because I already know. They're a cursed group of women. You know what I mean? Again, one of the signs of them being cursed is the fact that their hair is falling out. I mean, they're going bald. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a sign of being cursed. They're going bald. So I don't really have anything to say to them. Now, I won't stand in the way of the judgment because those who stand in the way of the judgment are likely to be judged in the same manner themselves. So I just let the judgment come upon them. So no, as far as like I said, recompense is a dish best served cold. A cup of judgment has been poured out for you. Enjoy your beverage. And I'm off.
There you go. Enjoy the purple Kool-Aid, baby.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think this is the best stream and panel I have ever done in my 4-year history of being here on YouTube. I haven't done that many, but I'd like to thank all the brothers on the panel, Crusher, King Sigma, our special guest, Babatunde Umana. I'd like to thank all of the moderators that kept the trolls in tow in the chat room, everybody that showed up. Thank those of you who donated to my PayPal, which is PayPal patron.me/Brian Too Bad TV Solange. Thank everybody who signed up to become a patron on my Brian Blogs Corner Club patreon.com at www.patreon.com/Brian Too Bad TV Solange. And guys, we're going to be doing more of these streams. I'm going to be having thinking brothers coming on here. It's not just going to be me running my mouth. And yeah, guys, I think we touched on a lot. And, you know, the truth is out there. The only thing I have to say, the last thing I'd have to say to these black females is the same thing they white daddy and they white master that they love so fucking much got to say to them. Bam! Bam! Yeah. And I jump in my spaceship and get the fuck up out of here, man.
All you brothers go support the work that Babatunde is doing over at slayingevil.com. He's, you know, you guys talk about black male media. You talk about being digitally censored. This man is running his own platform. He's putting in a whole lot of work doing those articles, and it would be very good to have more participation from all of you. Support Brian Solange with his PayPal, and also everyone should bookmark expatkings.com. That's become one of my favorite sites as a thinking black man, as far as anything related to the countries out there that you might want to travel to.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you brought that up, brother. Before we lead a chat room, I'm sorry, brothers. I just want to put all y'all links out here since I know that YouTube is the only one. I'm the only one that they'll let put a chat out here. So I also want to give a shout out to the brother that started Black Avenger. If you're in the room right now, brother, thank you for becoming a patron member. And also, brother, we're gonna give Black Avenger TV a shout out. It's the first black male fully owned and operated video sharing platform. I'm gonna put that link in here. We're gonna put Babatunde's link in here, if that's okay. It's www.slayingevil.com. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna put that out here because, yeah, guys, we got to stick together because it's clear. And for those of you in the chat room, before you leave, you need to understand it's clear. Black men, we don't have a lot of friends. So those of us that are like-minded brothers, we have to stick together. There's Black Avenger TV. I'm gonna put www.slayingevil.com. And brother, I'm sorry, the other brother, King Sigma, what was is that the right, let me ask you, Babatunde, is that right? www.slayingevil.com?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And King Sigma, what was the address of the website you were talking about again?
I put it in the chat. It's www.expatkings.com, and that's a travel site run by American black men that are in the Save Yourself Black Men Passport Bros camp. They travel all around the world. They write articles about their experiences, and I mean, it's just an invaluable resource at this point for us, man.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. So you guys make sure you check that out. Check out Babatunde's site. Make sure you check me out on Patreon. And yeah, guys, y'all have a good night. We had a great time, and we're gonna be doing this a lot more often. Like I said, we gotta stick together. Yeah. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night now. And thanks so much for showing up. Yeah.
Salute everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, take it easy now.
All right, man. Peace.
Yeah. Peace. Bye-bye. Yeah.